can tell us what to do. You think you can tell us how to game. You think that you're famous, well you better get ready. Bowser's Last Castle. Take it down. Regenerate into podcast fools. We just got tired of the other hosts acting like tools. Hey, those are my toys. Retro power, little man. Take it down. Regeneration. Action.
Hello out there in YouTube land, and welcome once again to the most unwoke, unfiltered, uncensored, most based podcast on the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jimbo from Retro Game Lounge. That magnificent bastard is Chris from CM Retro Gaming, and this is the Regeneration X podcast. It is crazy, Chris, that this is only episode 7. It feels like we've done more than that, but it is legitimately episode 7. It's weird.
Lucky number 7, baby. We got a damn good show tonight.
We do. We've got a lot to talk about. Like, we've got a pretty full deck, pretty full agenda from every angle, pop culture, Hollywood, politics, all the usual stuff we do. But before we get too much into the weeds on that, I have to ask you a question, Chris.
Sir.
Did you know that when Chuck Norris does a push-up, he does not push his body up? He pushes the earth down.
That's an interesting fact. Did you know that Superman owns a pair of Chuck Norris pajamas?
I didn't know that, but that totally makes sense. But did you know that when Chuck Norris goes out all night drinking, the next day Chuck Norris doesn't throw up? Chuck throws down.
Wow, that's a good one. Did you know that Chuck Norris doesn't read books? He just stares at them intently until he gets the information he wants.
That totally makes sense. And that reminds me that Chuck Norris actually does not wear a watch. He decides what time it is.
Woo! Pull up. Oh, turn up the heat. Did you know that as a child, Chuck Norris was dropped twice? Once on Hiroshima, once on Nagasaki.
I mean, that explains a lot, but I think I'll cap this back and forth off with one extra Chuck Norris fact. Chuck Norris once in his life actually went to a feminist convention. Every single person in attendance made him a sandwich.
Yeah, there it is. Turn up the heat.
All right. One quick bonus one, and I'm throwing this one in for pure vanity because this one was actually written by yours truly, and it was actually accepted on the Chuck Norris Facts website. I came up with this one myself.
Oh, nice.
Chuck Norris is the only man alive who can curl his toes into a fist.
Nice. Very nice.
So when he kicks you, is he really kicking you or is he punching you?
Well, I think in that particular instance, it would be a punch.
I would think. I mean, I think the only answer to that is yes. Like that's the only acceptable answer. So dear old Carlos Ray Norris, better known as Chuck Norris, the man, the myth, the legend, multi-time world champion, fantastic American veteran, movie star, philanthropist, martial arts enthusiast. Like this guy's like, when you think about like the Dos Equis commercial about the most interesting man in the world, like they really pale in comparison to Chuck Norris's actual life. Like,
right. And thank you for bringing up that he was a veteran. He was in the Air Force for 4 years, and he was their equivalent to military police.
Yep. Chuck was a legitimate bad motherfucker. Like, there are a lot of people in Hollywood who do martial arts stuff, but very, very few of them could stand toe-to-toe, or much less in the shadow of Mr. Chuck Norris. This guy was down to the ground, especially during his peak, like during his prime. This was one of the baddest guys on the face of the earth. And I think if the UFC had existed when Chuck was actually competing, like in the 60s and 70s, he would have done pretty well, I think, because he was into MMA before MMA was a word. You know, he trained jiu-jitsu with the Gracies. He trained with the Machados. He trained, of course, very famously with Bruce Lee. I mean, this dude talked the talk and walked the walk. Like he was the real thing. Like every martial artist knew that Chuck was the real deal, and that like it wasn't just a character he played on screen. Like this is literally who he was.
Mhm.
You know, you look at his record. That's like people brag about having like, you know, oh, I got like, you know, 25 victories. Chuck had hundreds in full contact karate, like no gloves, no bullshit, like just going toe to toe with the other guy. He legendarily, and this is by the Superfoot, Bill Superfoot Wallace's own story, that he and Chuck had a sparring match that one time lasted for 3 hours. And by Superfoot's description, he's like, we basically fought to a stalemate and beat the living shit out of each other. And I've met Bill Superfoot Wallace before. He's not a small guy. Like Bill's tall, like broad shouldered. He's well north of 6 feet. Chuck, not so much. Chuck was like 5'7", 5'8". He was a smaller guy. And the fact that Chuck was able to hold his own with a guy, you know, 5-6 inches taller than him, just by pure skill, and by a guy named the Superfoot, no less, who held the world record, and I believe still exists to this day, of the world's fastest kick. He could kick at nearly 100 miles an hour. Like imagine a foot coming at your face like that fast.
Yeah.
And Chuck actually like blocked some of his kicks. Like it's apparently he was that fucking good that he could stop the Superfoot. So bless you, Chuck Norris, man. Like I want to mourn this, and I'm sure everyone else does, because this is a great human, great American that unfortunately is no longer with us. But I'll tell you my personal perspective on this, guys. When it comes to someone who's lived life to the absolute fullest, like this guy did. I mean, he was in his mid 80s when he just recently passed the other day. He never really stopped. He never really slowed down, making movies, doing martial arts, like just getting out there and living life, man. I follow him on social media. He's out there hiking and stuff. He's out there doing shit, like even into his 80s, still training, still doing all this other shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard for me to mourn something like that, like really, when I think about it logically, because it's like, why am I sad? Like that this great human being basically won the game of life. Like lived it to its absolute fullest, made every day count, was positive, helped out his family, helped out people around him, was a pure red-blooded American dude, loved his country, served his country. By everyone who has ever met him, no one has ever said an unkind word about him just because he was that great of a human being. I say, don't be sad that Chuck is gone. Be happy that we got to exist in the same time as he did.
Yeah, for sure. We're not mourning a loss. We are celebrating a life. That's what
Absolutely.
That's how we're doing it tonight. So,
all right, we're gonna go ahead and raise a drink. For the record, I had my pick of beers, and I thought that this one
Freedom
would actually be most on brand. Freedom Brew. This is the American lager. It's like, to describe what this tastes like, man, it's a small brewing company. Like they got the balls to put the American flag on their beer. This to me tastes like Coors beer did in the 80s. Like when I would get like sips of my father's beer, tastes like old school American beer before it got
like an
watered down.
Old school lager has sort of almost like a creamy, nuttier kind of taste to it. You know what I mean? Like
yes.
It feels like it tastes thicker, even though it's not like a stout or something.
Yeah. It beer tasted very different back then. Like the same beers that exist now that also existed then. It just doesn't taste the same, like Chris and I are Generation X. We were kind of the last generation where our parents would actually give like a taste of booze to their kids. Like if my dad was having a beer, I'd be like, Dad, can I have a sip? And he's like, you're not gonna like it. I was like, I want a sip anyways. Like no one cared back then because you're just getting a sip. It's just beer. He's not giving me Jack Daniels or anything. Like he's like, sure, whatever. I'll do the same thing with my kid when he's old enough. And I'm talking about, guys, I wasn't 10 or 12 when this was happening. I was like 5 or 6.
Right.
I was just a small kid. And here I am. Here Chris is. We're still around. We still exist, man, because I like to think because our parents didn't fucking like baby us. They didn't wrap us in bubble wrap, man. Like we had to grow up hard and we had to grow up fast. So
yeah, it was a different time, man. It was like your parents were like, hold my smoke while I go get your sister out of the bathtub.
Yes.
And you're like,
I don't know what to do with this, but sure.
Right.
Yeah. So it's Chuck. Thank you very much for gracing us with your amazing life. Thank you for being a beacon of hope, of positivity, of, like faith, you know, in something greater than yourself, to martial arts, to action films, like, you know, just everything that you did. We were truly blessed to coexist with you at the same time. And, you know, humanity is definitely a tiny bit worse without you living in it. Not that we're mourning it, we're still celebrating your life, but life was better when Chuck Norris was with us. That's for sure. But that's okay, man. All I'm going to say is, dude, heaven must be planning something big because they pulled fucking Chuck Norris. So it's like, I don't know what they're going to fight or whatever, but I mean, they just pulled their ace. So whatever they're going up against, they're just like, you know, somebody pulled somebody aside and was like, I think we're going to need Chuck for this one. All right, hit the button. So Chuck's hanging out with Bruce, man. They're probably having a rematch right now, probably talking martial arts and being dorks and hanging out in heaven with him and Ed Parker and everybody else who's passed. They're probably just having a merry old time, just shooting the shit and having fun. So, Chuck, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. So,
For sure, man. When we say like the 80s was the best decade,
it was.
It's guys like that made it the best decade. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome
So,
movies, awesome.
Little tribute to Chuck. Me particular, I'm actually wearing my Canon Films raglan. All the best, not all the best, but most of the best Chuck Norris movies, in my opinion, were the ones he did for Canon Films. I mean, that's Invasion USA, that's Firewalker, that is
Missing in Action.
Yes, thank you. The Missing in Action, where he plays Colonel James Braddock. Like, so many great films came out of that. Like, they're low budget. Yeah, they're kind of 80s cheese and sleaze, but whatever, they're fun. I'm such a Firewalker fan. For anyone who's seen my video store, I haven't hung this up yet. Like, I've got the Firewalker video sign here. Just, I love this stuff. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, that's the thing of beauty. I would say my favorite Chuck Norris movie is definitely Delta Force. That, you know, the motorcycle with the missiles that shoot backwards. I love that movie. It's just one of those things I was. But here's a movie that people don't talk about with Chuck Norris. This is called Karate Cop. It takes place in China, and he's actually the bad guy. He's the guy that traffics the drugs and the women and everything. So if you've never seen Chuck Norris as the bad guy, that's the movie.
Facts, dude. That's awesome. I have not seen that one, so I'm gonna have to check that out. That's super cool. All right, so we got a banging agenda to bang through here. Let's go ahead and welcome everyone that is here. Thumping Weevil, Ravex Comedian. What's up, brother? Frankie Too Sweet, Mr. Pingen. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. Everyone, thank you so much for stopping by. We're gonna try and keep this thing on the rails because, again, like, legitimately, this is the biggest agenda that we've had so far. We got a ton of stuff to get in. We got recurring segments. We've got brand new segments. We have all kinds of great stuff to go through. And I'll give you guys a little spoiler. I won't give you the context, but at the end, the last agenda item we got to go through, Chris versus Jimbo, in a basically a nerd debate where we're going to scare off X chromosome. Like, if you're playing this podcast in front of any ladies, you're gonna have to be shouting like, ladies, I'm sorry, where are you going? Like, we're gonna scare them all off because we're a straight up fucking nerd debate. So, but we'll save that for the end. We got to keep you guys hanging a little bit. So, Chris, I saw something recently that really made me concerned for a particular celebrity, and be honest with you, man, like, I hate to kind of dunk on this guy, and we'll get into the hows and whys of why, when, but I can't not call this what it is. So, all right, let me give you some context on this. So this particular incident, I feel bad for the guy, like, in question here. I actually saw this on Bill Maher's was it Club Nowhere or whatever he calls it podcast. I actually really enjoyed listening to Bill Maher sometimes. Like, definitely don't agree with everything he says, but he is probably the most rational person on his side of the political persuasion, like, that has podcasts,
sure,
at least, that I've seen. Like, he's actually willing to have conversations with people he disagrees with, and Bill makes some really good points, and he isn't afraid to call out celebrities, like, to their fucking face. Like, he's who that party should be right now, where even if I disagree with them, like, be rational don't get caught up in the hype. Don't believe your own bullshit, and just be willing to talk to people that disagree with you in a very civil manner. And Bill does that very well. Like, he has his opinions, but at the same time, like, I mean, he had Charlie Kirk on the show, and they agreed on more things that they disagree. They obviously don't agree on faith. Charlie was staunch Christian and Bill is a staunch atheist, but that did not stop them from having a good time. And Bill had nothing but nice things to say about Charlie. He said, like, he was a super nice guy. So
yeah,
be the change that you want to see. So
yeah,
in this particular instance, so we had Jerry O'Connell on his show most recently. Jerry's been around. Like, he's done a lot of things, man. I first discovered him in the movie Stand By Me. I'm sure that's probably Chris's first exposure to him, since we're the same age.
Yeah.
Where he was the fat kid, Vern, and he's since radically changed himself. He's actually a pretty fit guy. A lot of people would probably know him from Sliders. He was the main character on that show. He's done a little bit of this and that. He's in one of the Scream movies. He's been a pretty active guy. So they were talking politics, obviously, and Jerry tells Bill a story that made me very concerned for Jerry when he told this. And you could tell that Jerry was kind of being very careful about what he was saying. So we got a short video clip, and I'll show you guys this so we can all get on the same page. Let me find my link. Okay, here we go. All right. Hang on a second. Sorry, we need volume. Let me back it up a little bit.
And of like, there was no planning. This is what they get. There should have been a primary. I said something along those lines, like I was just spitballing ideas as to, it was a shock, My wife and daughters, without saying anything, became physical with me. They were filled with rage.
I mean, watch it again and watch his body language. Like, he doesn't want to say this. He's like almost ashamed and scared.
I mean, he should be, because he's a man who's able-bodied and he's being threatened by two females. Yes, you should be ashamed, particularly if it's your wife and your child. But that notwithstanding,
I thought it was both of his daughters. They have twin daughters.
Oh, that's right, they do. Okay, so my takeaway from this, Chris, is like, I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, my first question to Jerry would be like, dude, are you all right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Is everything, like, it sounds like everything is not right at home, because you seem to be kind of not telling us the whole story because you don't want to, like, put your family on blast, but you're basically admitting that your wife and your daughter / got physical with you, and I'm taking that as they struck you, or maybe tried to choke you, or basically physically assaulted you in some way. That was my read on it. That's not okay.
No.
At all.
Yeah, what's the offense here? He said that the Democratic Party during this last election cycle, they didn't have a plan and they should have had a primary. Because remember, Joe Biden won the primary and they said, we don't think so. We'll install Kamala. And then that didn't work. That's all he's saying. He's not like disagreeing with like any of the whack job things that the Democrats and liberals believe in. He just said they should have done a better job during that last election cycle. So, I mean, and if they're gonna act like that, the Trump derangement syndrome is real. I think it should be a real thing that you can diagnose people with.
It should be. Like, it's to address Mr. Pingen's content. He said to watch the whole thing. There was stuff before that clip starts. Yeah, like I watched the entire clip. Like, I watched the whole segment where he and Jerry O'Connell talked. I kind of condensed this just for the sake of time, but being the clip that I showed you kind of gets you the gist of it, where he talks about, like, he's basically implying that he was attacked by two members of his family. And what's crazy, to bookend what Chris was saying, like, not that this would make it okay for them to do that, but he wasn't saying, like, go Trump to a couple of diehard Kamala people. He was just being like, the Democrat Party fucked this up. And they did, because they lost, and they lost bad. It's, they didn't win any swing states at all. Trump won every single one of them by every conceivable measure. They completely botched that election cycle. So none of what he was saying was at all inaccurate. It honestly, like, none of it was really an opinion. Like, all of it was just fact, pretty much. Pretty uncomfortable truth, I guess, for his wife and everything. But it just makes me wonder, because his wife is formerly Rebecca Remain Stamos.
Yeah.
It just makes me wonder, because I dug more into this, and apparently Rebecca Remain has specific limitations that she has for anyone that she's with on things that they can and can't talk about, and opinions that they can and can't hold. And I'm just thinking, like, is that why? Yeah, it's apparently I'm thinking John Stamos got fed up with that shit and was just like, okay, if you're gonna tell me what to think, you can go get fucked, and I'm Uncle Jesse, bitch. So, like, yeah, whatever.
The world's
I'm gonna be way
with,
more
with a million hot chicks. You know what I mean? I'm John Stamos. I'm gonna fuck them all.
Yeah.
So.
He and Rob Lowe are in, like, the vampire club where they just never seem to age. And fucking Paul Rudd, like, they've got to be vampires or something, man. So, like, Jerry, I hope you're okay, dude. But at the same time, dude, if they try and fucking do that shit again, don't be afraid to throw hands. Defend yourself. Like, seriously. Like, if someone's attacking you, dude, with equal rights come equal lefts. I'm a firm believer in that. Don't start anything. If you want to be really nice because they're your family, like, give them a warning. Be like, dude, don't do it. Like, you know, just give them a warning. Try and bring them back. But if they continue down that fucking path and they really want to test the difference between XX and XY, because women of today seem to be harboring this delusion that, like, women can fight men, and they just don't realize how much fucking stronger even an out of shape man is than they are. It's not close, and it's never gonna be.
Bone density, lung capacity, muscle density, like, there's and this is, you know, that's just a microcosm of how the left actually works. They don't like something that you say, and they are going to choose violence to shut you up.
Yeah.
Because now he's like that battered woman now. He's going to think twice before he opens his mouth again, you know, especially in a public place.
It makes me feel bad for him, but at the same time, like, the guy in me is like, dude, quit being a pussy. Like, you're a man, stand up for yourself. Like, if some bitch, even if it's your wife, is trying to handle you like that, first of all, choke slam that fucking trash bag hoe back to the street corner where she belongs. And secondly, this is your children, dude, and you're your father. Fucking calibrate the shit out of them and remind them who daddy is. Like, seriously. Like, no,
they're gonna expect
demand respect
behavior out of the men that they date and marry.
Yeah.
You know, when they get to that age, they're gonna see how mom treats dad, and that's how they're gonna want to treat. And guess what? Now we got two more strong, independent, single moms out there. So that's what's gonna happen.
Don't be a woman, dude. Women have to demand respect, men command it. That's the difference. Like, if you're really good at being a guy, half the time you don't even have to say it. Like, you just know how to give them the look. Like, there's a difference, man. Like, again, we're both Gen X. We would both get the look from, I'm sure, our respective fathers, where he wouldn't have to say or do anything. We just knew the look, and we were like, oh shit, like, I better course correct, or I'm about to get the crap slapped out of me. Like, it's half the time didn't have to raise the voice or anything. Just the threat of dad coming home usually was enough.
That was the one, bro. Like, you hear that car door close in the driveway, and you think back about your day. Did I do anything that's going to cause me to get my ass whooped 10 minutes after he walks through this door?
Yeah, that was the nuclear option.
20 minutes or so, you're like, okay, good.
Yeah, that was when your mom was like, she's going to the nuclear option, dude. She's going scorched earth. Like, just wait till your father gets home. You're like, Mom, I'm sorry, please, not that. Like, you can whip the crap out of me, just not that. So that's
for sure.
We could use a little bit more of that in today's age. I think a little bit more fathers being fathers. So, Jerry, we hope you're okay, buddy. But, bro, stand your ground. Like, don't take shit from anybody, not even your own family. Not like that. Like, no one deserves to get abused like that. Excuse me. So, I know we said, and I've said this before, I know the Epstein thing is the thing that doesn't end. Believe it or not, we don't really have a major Epstein update for you tonight, but the Green Lantern thing just doesn't seem to want to go anywhere. Like, I thought that when we originally discussed this, that this would be like a one and done, but it's like every week it gets better and better because more people keep speaking up. So in this particular instance, let me go ahead and share a screen with you. Because
I think I'm at the point with this where it's like, the talking heads on the internet are going to talk, and this group of fans are going to say this about the creators and the writers and vice versa. Let's just see it. I just want to see it.
Yeah. I will give them the first episode and I will watch it.
I'm going to give it 2. I think that's fair.
You're too generous.
Yeah. Well, they got to set it up,
They do. All right. So we got an update here. So last time we talked about Ethan Van Sciver and Ron Mars, 2 guys very closely connected to the legacy of the Green Lantern, both wrote and illustrated and everything. But there's another guy who's connected to it who is a bit higher up there in the comic writers pantheon. Like, this guy is definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame if there is a comic book writers Hall of Fame. This guy is a fucking first round draft pick for sure. That would be the one and only JIMBO, Mr. Grant Morrison. He's written for DC. He's written for Marvel. He's written for everybody. And this guy's opinion has weight. So I'll go ahead and read a little bit of this of you. So Grant Morrison chimed in on this, and his comments were very, very blunt. He's English/Scottish, and that just seems to be the way they fucking operate. So, okay. So TV writer producer Damon Lindelof's comments notwithstanding, the green, quote, in Green Lantern's green is not stupid. He's responding to Damon Lindelof, who's the show's creator's comments that, like, we called it lanterns because green was stupid. Why does a writer attach himself to this kind of narrative if he thinks it's fundamentally stupid? You don't hand CSI scripts to patronizing writers who condemn forensic experts and their haircuts as stupid. So why hire people who are ashamed and in denial about the comic book material that they've been assigned to develop? Why don't they turn down jobs they're not suited for? It's not like he needs the money. And Lindelof has proven that he can come up with his own ideas. What is this jockish dismissal of superhero conventions intended to prove anyway? Does Lindelof imagine it makes him less nerdy or seem less nerdy? It's a bit too late for that. So what's it all about? The only people who give a fuck about the Lanterns TV series are Green Lanterns fans. Why alienate them at the start? Green Lanterns is a much more evocative and dramatic title than Lanterns, just as Raise the Red Lantern is a better movie title than Raise the Lantern. And anyone who can't grasp that is why that shouldn't be anywhere near superhero stories. The show might even be good, but how much better could this stuff be if studios were willing to hire the right people for the job instead of phoning their embarrassed friends to water the source material down? Hollywood will die of insularity and inbreeding. Bravo, Mr. Morrison. And I love that he said something almost verbatim that I said on the last podcast. Not that I'm putting myself anywhere near the league of the legendary fucking JIMBO, but he said the only people who are going to give a fuck, and I said that word, about a Green Lantern show are Green Lantern fans. And he is absolutely correct. This isn't Superman. This isn't Batman. This is the nerdier side of comics. Mm-hmm. So, to be fair, since we try to be unbiased on this show as best we can, Damon Lindelof actually responded. So we're going to go ahead and read his comments just for balance. I'll breeze through them real quick here. Okay. Damon Lindelof. I have upset Grant Morrison, which means I have now pissed off most of the brilliant British-Scottish comic writers that I grew up idolizing. To quote the bard Otis Redding, this is nobody's fault but mine. To give you guys context, he is talking about... I'm sorry, I'm completely spacing on the guy's name. The guy who created Watchmen. I can see his fucking hippie face.
Is that Frank
in
Miller?
My mind. No, it's
Oh God.
He did Watchmen, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Is it Alex something? I'm sorry, I'm totally like failing my fucking nerd card right here. We'll figure it out. But the writer of Watchmen / League of Extraordinary Gentlemen I think it's Alex something. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just completely brain farting. I'm a little bit tired. So I made a dumb joke on a comedy podcast. I'm not going to bob and weave about context. The joke was dumb. The fandom is not. I owe them an explanation and a genuine reflection of my actual feelings. The very first time I appeared on a Comic-Con panel was for The Lost Pilot back in the summer of 2004. I wore my favorite t-shirt as I had long grown out of my favorite underoos, those being the uniform of Hal Jordan, Green Lantern of Sector 2814. For the record, he included the picture, so that's obviously the cast of Lost, and he's a very young man right there, so he's not just making that up. That's actually true. And green is not, there was nothing... This being the uniform of Hal Jordan, Green Lantern of Sector 2814. For a quiet, uncoordinated kid, there was nothing cooler than a hero whose superpower was his imagination. And green is not stupid. It is my lifelong favorite color, and I have a questionnaire that I filled out in 3rd grade to prove it. Green is fucking awesome. More importantly, it would be a betrayal to everyone I worked for and alongside to say anything other than I was absolutely honored to be a part of the team that manifested. He's throwing in a lot of Green Lantern jargon here. The incredible construct that is lanterns, because it was. I was sloppy and careless with my words. Ironic considering I care so much about Hal, John, and the entire Corps. I can and will do better to be worthy of the oath. Until then, I'll let the show speak for itself, and I can't wait for you all to hear what it has to say. Okay, if that's the case, guys, like, he didn't backpedal. He didn't try and whitewash his comments. He was just like, to be fair, to give this context, where he said this was on a comedy show, and I actually watched it, and I think this might have been a joke that just didn't land. Like, he obviously likes Green Lantern, and he did long before he got the job. I will give them that. But at the same time, guys, for anyone who watched the, quote, Watchmen TV show that was on HBO, which was absolute fucking dog shit, and Alan Moore, thank you. Alan Moore thinks every adaptation of all of his stuff is dog shit. For the record, I thought the Zack Snyder Watchmen was excellent. It wasn't a perfect adaptation, but I enjoyed the fuck out of that movie. That was really good, really ambitious, really big, and everything. I didn't hate it. You know, again, it wasn't a 1-to-1 of the comic, but I feel it got the general gist of the source.
Yeah. Because I think, like, in the comics, it was like, other than Dr. Manhattan, they were just all like physically fit, acrobatic people. But in the movie, they had like superpowers. You know what I mean? They were more,
to an extent, yes.
Yeah.
And plus, they didn't fight the giant like squid monster or whatever at the end. Okay, so what? Like, it's when you look at the lens of the movie, that wouldn't have made sense anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that because that wasn't a really big deal anyways. So it's like, who cares? So I don't like Damon Lindelof very much, to be perfectly honest, man. I think he had one good idea, and that was he was the main show writer on Lost. Love or hate the show, dude, Lost was a cultural touchstone. It was as big as Seinfeld. It was as big as The Twilight Zone. Like, that was fucking probably one of the last shows that was like must-see TV, that was like water cooler talk, where like the episode aired, we all saw it at the same time. It wasn't on streaming, it was on an actual show where you would talk about it with your coworkers the next day. It's the last one that I remember where we were part of what's being called the monoculture, where we all watched the same shit at the same time and we all were kind of on the same page. So I will give him credit. For the most part, Lost was an amazing TV show. They definitely didn't stick the landing on the ending, and that's because they didn't plan out the show. They were literally making it up every season. But like the first few seasons of that was pretty awesome, to be perfectly honest. There was no other show like it on television. Chris, what the fuck, bro? Like, you haven't seen Baywatch or Lost? What the hell, dude? I'm gonna
bro,
pull your
the list of
Gen X
shows that
card.
I've never seen one episode would make your heart stop.
Okay. All right. We're gonna have to plan a re-education camp, Chris, a trip for Chris here. So that's really the only thing I've ever seen Damon Lindelof do that I thought had any merit. That's my personal opinion. The rest of his stuff I think is fucking horrible. However, I'm willing to give him a shot on this. If he really loves Green Lantern as much as he says he does, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and say, like, maybe this was just a bad trailer. Maybe whoever cut this trailer just didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Maybe they were like, you know, like, let's not show the powers. Let's wait and everything. It's like, guys, that's like not showing Superman fly in a trailer. Like, come on.
Yeah, listen, there are certain things that you have to put in a trailer, or in a first episode rather. And it's like, if you're going to tell the origin story, there's got to be a little bit of that. But if the person has powers, you've got to show those powers you've got to hook people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he can't just build or construct a campfire. He's got to do something. They've got to do something that's worthwhile. You know what I mean? That kind of wows the fans and hooks you in. And if you're new to Green Lantern or the Green Lantern as a bubble, like, they've got however long that episode is. I don't know. It's going to be like 40 minutes or something. You've got 40 minutes. That's what you got. Otherwise, you're not going to see a season 2.
No, you're not. So, guys, I'm hoping I'm wrong about this. I've been waiting for a proper Green Lantern adaptation my entire life. And like, the more I've watched the trailer several times, guys, and like the more I think about it, I'm like, the more I feel remorseful for shitting as hard on the Ryan Reynolds adaptation, because that was not a good movie, but there was a lot of things that they got right in that movie. Like, there was no question when I saw that movie or even saw the trailer to the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern. It's like, that's the Green Lantern. Like, I mean, he's on Oa. He has powers. He's wearing the mask. Like he's doing constructs. He's talking to Kilowog. Kilowog calls him a poozer and shit. I mean, they're just checking the fucking boxes of fan service on that one. It was a bit of a fucking hard landing. They didn't quite get it. And Ryan Reynolds, I think, was a little miscast as Hal Jordan. Hal should have been a little bit older. Not a lot older, but a little bit older. He should be roughly 40 years old. And Ryan was still pretty young at that point. So, but they did a much better job of evoking what Green Lantern looks like in that. Mm-hmm. So, again, I want to be wrong about this. I'm willing to give it a chance. Like, if the first episode is like, like if I'm not like, what the fuck, like enraging about it, if I'm that upset about it, I'm like, fuck you, I'm not giving you episode 2. Like the Halo series, I stopped at episode 1. As soon as he took off the helmet, I'm like, I'm out. Like, I don't want to see any more about this.
But I didn't even watch it.
If the first episode is like meh, then I'll be like, all right, maybe it's just a crappy first episode. It's
gonna be meh. It's gonna be like, it's gonna be a soft sell of what's going on, and maybe like, let's talk about the origins, and maybe here's what we can do. And this second episode and the third episode are really, hopefully, going to set up what the story for this series is going to be about. Who are the bad guys? What's the turmoil? What's the hero's journey that we're going on?
Yeah,
and I guess we'll see. And like I said, I'm in that mode where it's like, I'll just wait and see.
Yeah, I hope they have a rational explanation for why they're not training Jon Stewart on Oa, because you don't have to hide who you are there. It's literally an entire planet of Green Lanterns. So it's like, if you're going to train him to do constructs, do you really want to do it around Earthlings who might freak out and think you're a fucking alien? Or do you want to go to a place where you're completely insulated from all of that? Not to mention, you're surrounded by other Green Lanterns. So it's literally a planet that functions as the battery that essentially bankrolls all the other Green Lantern batteries, but it's like the headquarters for all of the space cops. So you don't have to worry about anyone attacking it or anyone getting in your way. Dude, I pity the fucking fool who goes to Oa looking for trouble with like tens of thousands of life forms wielding literally the most dangerous fucking weapon in the universe. That's Batman's words, not mine. So if they've got an explanation for that, great. I'd love to hear it. I don't know what that could be. Maybe they can write their way out of this. I don't know, but we'll see. So we will keep you posted as that develops. I'm not even cautiously optimistic at this point. I'm like just cautious, but
yeah,
we'll see. It premieres relatively soon, so we'll see how it goes. So in other news, we got some news from good old, I guess it's not really Capitol Hill. I guess it'd be the White House in this instant. Joe Kent resigned and actually published his resignation letter, where he was very vocal about why he was resigning. And the main reason that he gave was he doesn't see Iran as a threat. Like, this is a pointless fucking war that's not really serving America's interest and everything. He's kind of echoing a lot of stuff that I said previously, where I'm like, I don't see the problem here. And I mean, it goes a little bit deeper than that. He's apparently was being shut out of meetings and a bunch of other stuff. I'm sure that there are layers to this because we're only getting Joe's side of this, but there are some rumblings from some very credible folks that I follow who have contacts that are deep inside the White House, where the rumblings are that Tulsi Gabbard might be next. And that would be a very, very big deal because she's the intelligence secretary. Like, all of this shit filters through her. And I know that Tulsi is very against unnecessary wars. Like, that's kind of who she is. And again, she's did 2 tours in the sandbox, so she knows a little bit about this. So she's definitely a woman that acts upon principle and acts to the best of her ability in the interest of her country. Like, she will do her job to the best of her ability, but at the end of the day, guys, she's a patriot. Like, she's one of us. Like, she's trying to do what she feels is best for America. And if any part of her thinks that this war is unnecessary, I'm pretty sure we're going to see her resignation, and I will be behind her on that. So I'm sure we're going to get more about this as it develops. Again, we don't have all the facts yet, but at the same time, it's not a good look for this administration to besmirch someone who politely resigns basically under I would say, an attack of moral conscience. That's someone who should be celebrated, even if you disagree with them. He's not trashing the administration. He's more just saying, like, I don't agree with this, and I don't think this is a good idea, and I don't feel I can do my job holding that belief. That's what I divined from it. But what was your take on it, Chris?
Yeah, it's my understanding that Kent lost some people over in the sandbox. Whether I remember it was like his first wife or a family member or something, but
First wife, yes.
I think that if you were the secretary of whatever, it doesn't matter, and I were the president, and I put you in that position, and you came to me with some concerns, that I would listen to you because I put you in that position.
Yes,
for that reason. So the fact that nobody that's above him in the White House is listening to what he's saying and taking it, seriously or as a legitimate concern, that's also a problem.
It is.
No one wants to put boots on the ground. I think I'm good with, airstrikes on military targets and strategic targets, infrastructure, things like that. No one wants to see civilian populations, killed or anything like that. Once you put boots on the ground, it is now a different ballgame. You're going to have Islamic extremists, these terrorist organizations that are operating in Iran. They are going to start taking civilians hostage, and it's going to be much, much worse than if we were just to stick with the airstrikes. So if he feels that way and he feels that strongly to where he needs to resign, I don't disagree with him because I understand where this is going to go if it progresses.
Yep.
And if Tulsi, and I mean, she's probably going to be, the dude, right? She's going to be next in line. So I guess we'll have to wait to see if her loyalty outweighs her convictions.
Knowing what I know about Tulsi based upon every time I've heard her talk, I think she's going to pick convictions every time because she seems to have a very strong moral compass. There are very few women in the world that could do what she does and operate with such an even keel. She is a genetic 1%, where she doesn't let her, for lack of a better analogy, like the female brain, like emotional driven brain, cloud her judgment. That is like a fucking superpower. Like it really is. She's a very grounded, rational person who is like totally okay with the idea that she could be wrong. Like, and when she's wrong, she owns it. Like seems to be a good person. Again, has served her country. We all appreciate that. And when I heard that this is the position she was going to be put in, I was like, I couldn't think of a better candidate, man. Like, I mean, like other than like vice president or something like that, like absolutely. Like Tulsi can do this job. So I'm hoping for the best here, man, but I got to tell you that I'm not hopeful about this because Hegseth is already asking for like 50 billion more in like funding to fund more airstrikes, and I'm like, my immediate answer to that is no, because like this war is already costing us a ton of money. Like gas prices are fucking way up and everything.
Yeah,
on top of that,
the gas prices are still less than they were when we were under the Biden administration and we weren't at war. So,
right.
Gas prices, I think I checked today, it was $3.75 was the average in Ohio today. And, you get your dollar off at Kroger, your Sheets. So you're going to get some discounts on that to relieve that. Trump also wants to drill, baby, drill. So what I need to know, from Big Pete is if you want 50 billion, is this the last 50 billion you're going to need?
Right.
What do you want the end result of this to look like? Are you going to come back to me when this 50 billion is used up and go, hey, I need another 30 billion? Yeah. Like how much more are we investing in this before we're done?
Right.
Because this has nothing to do, despite what the liberals say, with the Strait of whatever that is over there. I can't even pronounce
Hormuz, something like that. Yeah.
Because Trump's already said, like, okay, we'll pull out in Europe. You guys can defend it because you're more energy dependent on Middle East oil than we are. And then they sort of backtrack, right? Ukraine sending troops over there because Ukraine knows if they don't back us, then they're not going to get any more American money. So there's a cost to this that is more than that $50 billion. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, Pete. What do you want the end result to look like? How much more do we need? If you need 100 million, if you say $100 billion and we can end this war, here's your $100 billion, go end it. Don't ask me for more after that.
At the same time, like there's a couple things surrounding this that also make me equally concerned. And Trump himself has actually commented on this. I don't have it pulled up, guys, so I'll just paraphrase a little bit. But Trump said from the beginning that like Israel wasn't going to strike like oil depots or anything like that. And that's exactly what has happened. And they've done it several times. And Trump has been like, they're not going to do that again. I'm sure he was on the phone with fucking Bibi saying like, dude, what the fuck? Like, we had an agreement. Like, what are you doing? And on top of that, like, striking those things inevitably has an impact on gas prices because it's a world economy. It's like, the whole thing where all the countries depend on each other, OPEC essentially, where all the oil countries, all the oil producing countries kind of depend on each other. And it's like a very, very sensitive market. If you're trying to win over the American people, fucking with their gas prices is definitely not the way to do it because that's something that affects all of us. So I'm very concerned about all of this. And my stance on this as of now, guys, is the same stance that I've had from the beginning. I don't give a fuck about Iran. Like, I really don't. I don't give a fuck about Israel, Pakistan. I don't care about any of these fucking people. They have nothing to do with my everyday life. They are not a threat to my ability to act as a free American. I don't care. And the fact that this is costing my country money and is inflating gas prices when my wife has an extremely long commute, so it's literally costing my household money. I'm kind of fucking over this shit at this point, man. I'm tired of America being like the world police. Like, I know that's like a joke, but like there's a lot of truth in that movie, even though it's like satire. Like, yes.
Well, no, it's a real thing, and Europe is starting to feel that now because we're not paying for their missile defense systems. We're not doing all these things that we used to do. The problem is we've allowed Islam to go way too far. We've invested, or we've been invaded by way too many of these people from those countries, and the Jews in Israel aren't helping this at all.
No.
Okay. Because they're just as financially dependent on us, and we don't really need them. And I don't understand why we give them $50 billion a year.
I don't either. I've never understood that, dude. I've heard that my entire life. Like, again, Chris, I know this says we're the same age.
Right.
Is it reasonable to say that guys like you and I have heard our entire lives, like Israel's an important ally? Was that not like burned into our heads as children?
Yeah. And this is, all this money goes over there. And I mean, without really getting into it, it's like we give them $50 billion. Well, what does that $50 billion pay for? Well, some of it goes to their missile defense systems and their military and stuff like that. Some of it actually goes to like paying pensions and paying government officials, but some of it ends back up in APAC, which comes back to our lobbyists here that pay Democrat and Republicans to vote in the best interest of Israel, not in the best interest of America, not in the best interest of Christian nations, not in the best interest of, these select countries. What is in the best interest of Israel? They have really embedded themselves into our politics, and they need to be cut off immediately because we like to, just being in the military, I can tell you, we like to bomb military targets, airfields, ammo depots, missile silos, intercontinental ballistic missile trucks, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Israel, as you just mentioned, they want to blow up oil reserves and all these like critical infrastructure pieces that Iran already has in place to include basic life sustaining infrastructure. They want to hit electrical power plants. They want to hit water plants. They want to hit anything that is going to cut off basic life needs for everybody in Iran. Now, we all know what would happen in our first world country if the power went out for a week and the internet was out for a week.
Everyone's going to turn on each other.
Chaos. Yeah. What would happen in a third world country if they didn't have water, electricity, internet, plumbing, any of it? Like, and that's what Israel wants to do. This is part of their battle plan. They want to
Yes.
annihilate. They want to use us and our allies to annihilate Iran off the map.
Yeah, it's a war of attrition. That's really what it is. Like
Mhm.
it's forced capitulation through like removing of resources, which, like Chris mentioned, like all the stuff that you mentioned, like, you know, missile depots, ammo depots, all those things have tactical value. Like that's how militaries fight wars. Is you basically you cut off the military, the opposing military's ability to fund itself and to obtain resources. Meaning you take away their ammo, you take away their ability to get like fuel or this supply or that supply. You basically make it so expensive and so catastrophic for them to basically exist as a military that they have no choice but to capitulate. That's like fucking Sun Tzu Art of War, like 101, is to beat your enemy, you have to be stronger than your enemy. Like that's how you win wars. That's like the traditional way of fighting wars. And Israel seems to only function on one plane of warfare, and that's fighting terrorism, which to a degree I understand because of the genesis of their country. Like when they're fighting people that are trying to blow up airports and everything like that and trying to kill them. And it's, you know, people complain about the TSA in America. Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't ever go to Israel and try and get on a plane. Like all of the rights and protections you have here doesn't exist there. If they think you are 1% of a threat just because they don't like the way you look, they don't let you on the plane, which is why they've never had a hijacking. So I'm not arguing their results. Like what they do definitely works within the confines of their country. But at the same time, would that ever fly here in America? Pun intended. No. Like we have protections and things like that. And we understand that the concept of freedom is by definition dangerous, is that you accept a tolerable, in your opinion, level of danger in order for freedom to sustain.
Yeah,
meaning
so
people are going to die.
Cost analysis is what is all
Yes.
it is. You know what I mean? Like
It is. That's all it is. So we seem to be on the same page here, man, where it's like, look, if the powers that be were coming to us with like, okay, this is the money we need, and when we are done with this, and if this goes successfully, this is the outcome that we are expecting. Meaning we're taking over Iran's oil reserve, and we're going to like drop oil prices down. I'm just spitballing right now, but like a clear trajectory of we're not just bombing stuff. We're taking this stuff out to basically cripple them so that they can't possibly resist. If that was what they were leading with, would I be at least open to having the conversation? Sure. I'll at least hear them out. But right now, guys, we've got a mountain of fucking problems that exist inside of our borders that I would much rather than be spending money on, like securing elections, throwing every single rat bastard Somali fraudster out of our country, cutting off benefits to people who don't deserve them, like, you know, like all of those things, like fighting radical Islam when they're trying to kill us seemingly every fucking day. All of those things are much closer to home than a country that is literally on the other side of the fucking world right now. Like Iran, the people in Iran, meaning the country of Iran, isn't going to destroy my house or my child's potential school or anything.
their thing is like they produce like something crazy, like 100 or 120 missiles a month. And what their overall plan is to take over the other countries in the Middle East and become sort of a superpower player in the economic market, like Russia is, China is, we are. So I understand wanting to take them out, especially their regime that they have there. That wrestler that just protested they just hung him and two of his friends like yesterday or the day before. You can't live like that. That's not the way it's supposed to work. But when a country says we're working towards getting a nuclear weapon, and when we get it, we're going to use it on the United States, that's a threat, man. I mean, you got to take care of that. And I thought we took care of that when we sent a couple B-2s over there and destroyed their nuke facilities. So again, Pete Hegseth needs to really tell us, what does a victory in this conflict look like? Right. And how are we going to get there?
Yep.
Because listen, a goal without a plan is a wish. So if you're not going to tell us what the end result of this looks like, then you're basically just leaving this open to be drug on for another decade. You know, because if you're going to fight terrorism, you got to fight them over there, so you don't have to fight them over here. Well, we just did that for 20 years and we didn't get rid of them. So when 1 in 4 of our children are going to go to bed hungry tonight in America.
Yeah.
Prioritize.
It's just like, I'm with you on that, man. Like, I really am. Like, if there's a credible threat, sure. Like, I'm kind of like, I've got one leg on each side of the fence on this, man. Like, my brain is honestly like pulling and pushing on this. Like, on the one side, it's like, yeah, if anyone's going to threaten us, fuck them. Let's take them out. But at the same time, it's like, okay, where does that end? Because it always seems like every 2 years, there's always someone threatening the United States. It's honestly, it is the one thing in common that we have with Israel is since the beginning of our nation's founding, people have been trying to kill us, like constantly. It's the only real thing that we in Israel have in common, but we've been doing this a lot longer than they have, like centuries longer than they have. Mm-hmm. There's always someone who wants to take out America just because we're America. I've accepted that as an inevitability where it's like they hate us because they just don't like the fact that we're free. I don't know if it's jealousy. I don't know if it's they think we're the fucking Antichrist. I don't really care, but I know that our way of living is better than theirs. And I know if they grew up in the same kind of environment that you and I did, I think their opinion on this would be radically different, which is why I don't understand like lack of assimilation when somebody immigrates here. It's like, dude, you're coming to a place because you wanted to be more free. Why aren't you acting like it? Like,
yeah, it's
why
weird,
are you
right? Like, you come here for opportunity and freedom, and then you get here and you try and turn our country into the oppressive, poor, third world shithole that you just left. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense, but it just speaks to their priorities and their IQ level, which is why we shouldn't admit them into our country in the first place.
I agree. And I think that exact behavior that you just described, it isn't unique to immigrants. I'm speaking through personal anecdote here, but I had a coworker, real quick story, then we'll go ahead and wrap this up, that I worked with at one point who was originally from California. I'm sure you know where this is going, Chris. And here we go. And she and her family had recently excuse me. Sorry, 1 second.
There you go. Fuck on it. There you go.
Ugh. Jesus, I don't know what that was. Must have been a bit of dust. She and her family had recently relocated to San Antonio, Texas, which is very, very different from the SoCal world that she came from. And I was just asking her because I didn't know anything about her. It was like at one of these like meet and greets at a company thing where everybody's like hanging at the bar and like getting to know each other. And I was like, so like, how do you like San Antonio? And she's like, well, I like things about it and I hate things about it. I was like, okay, well, what do you like about it? She's like, well, I love the housing prices, like especially compared to California. I'm like, yeah, I bet. I'm sure you can get a whole lot more house for the same amount of money. So sure. I'm like, all right, what do you hate about it? She's like, I hate the politics. And I had her expound on that a little bit, and it became very obvious within her talking for like 3 minutes that she's the stereotypical cliched California liberal. To make a specific example, I'd asked her about the homeless issue in California, and she took issue with me saying the word homeless.
Oh, Jesus. And
she demanded that I say unhoused. And I was like, yeah, I'm not saying that. And she was like, why don't you want to say that? I was just like, should I say like, would your answer be the same? Yeah. Like, I mean, are you going to tell me not to say like unemployed next, even though that's what the state calls it? Like, it means you are not employed. So it became very obvious that like this woman is fucking cancer and I don't want to be in the same room with her. And she, much like you described how people from other places like third world shitholes like bring their bad policies here. Mm-hmm. She's an American born in America, like as fucking American looking as me. The only difference is born on the wrong coast. And she's bringing her bad politics from California to San Antonio when she admits that financially it is a far greater place to raise a family because she can afford housing, she can afford daily expenses and everything. And her fucking tiny liberal brain doesn't connect the dots. Like, maybe the shit that you voted for in California is the fucking reason you had to leave.
Yeah, well, they can't accept responsibility for anything. That's why they're really like that. Is that if they admit that where they left was so bad, and maybe it was a bad idea that I voted for a transgender drag show at the kindergarten, then you see those posts all the time on Facebook, like, I live in California and I'm thinking about moving to Ohio. And I always leave a comment like, I hear Portland is nice. You know what I mean? Like, don't fucking come here with your nutty liberal whack job ideas.
Yeah.
Because that shit's not going to happen out here. In Ohio, like, I'm not like in the city, like downtown Columbus, but I'm not in one of like the suburbs that's adjacent to the city. I'm like a couple, like 30 minutes away, man. We got a lot of rural area out here. A lot of holes can be dug.
Yeah, facts. I don't remember that lady's name, but I really only got one parting gift for her.
Fuck you.
Ooh.
That's really all I gotta say. I gotta bring in my Mexi midget dude to fucking hook me up here. Mexi midget with a mullet, no less. So, all right, next topic. All right, this goddamn dude. It just seems like, again, we're either really good at picking topics or like the universe is watching our podcast. I'd like to think it's both personally, but this just seems to be the topic that doesn't fucking end. We've talked about the absolute dumpster fire that is my home state of Virginia, Abigail Spanberger, who just seems to be on a quest to just obliterate what I consider to be the cradle of American democracy. Like, a lot of people think America started in Plymouth Rock. No, dude, America started in Virginia. Like, it really did. When you look at the number of founding fathers who were born there, who lived there, when you look at the amount of things that were done in Virginia, no, like, America kind of started in Virginia. It's one of the oldest places in the country. It's very, very fucking old. So, and she just seems to be hell-bent on just obliterating every single bit of that, as if America somehow a failed experiment, even though, like, well, seems like she did pretty well in life. So I don't think we're getting that much wrong. But to put a point on it, let me share a screen with you guys so you can see the latest fucking brain rot coming from this ignorant idiot. Wow, I have more tabs open this time than I think I ever have, dude.
Tabrific. I like it.
Democrat. Hold on. I think this is it. Yep, this is it. Okay, so Democrat Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger set to sign a new bill which discriminates against white men. The bill would mandate that 42% of government contracts be awarded to women and minority-owned businesses. This is illegal. Yes, it fucking is. That's called racial and sexual discrimination, and there are federal laws against that. To make matters worse, on top of that, I think this has since been rescinded, guys. Don't quote me on that. But the bill that we talked about last time, the air quotes assault weapons bill, they had added a rider to that at the last minute. Again, I think it may have been removed. I fucking hope it is, because Jesus Christ. And the rider was that everyone in the General Assembly was exempt from those restrictions. We're not talking about their security guards. We're talking about like the governor, the state senators, state legislature, like just regular people like you and I who have been elected to office. That is fucking insane.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. You as the citizen, starting on July 1st, you can have a 15 round magazine in your Glock 45, right? Meanwhile, the governor, if he wanted to, could have a Glock 45 with a 100-round drum. You know what I mean? So it's like, wait, this is that classic, Democrat liberal rules for me,
rules for
but not
thee,
for thee.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
Yes. Yeah, I always mess that up.
Yes, it's okay.
I don't play that shit. I play equal rules for everybody. But
yes.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. I did not know that was rescinded, or
I think it's been rescinded. Don't quote me on that, but I think I saw a thing that they walked it back. It's because it's
crazy. But getting back to what she's talking about now, I was watching this a little bit closely on Facebook. I know I had a busy week this week as far as work goes, and you send me a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, I got to catch up. And
you made me sound like your fucking wife, dude.
Yeah, I was learning about this stuff, and I'm like, they can't be serious. Like, this is like, I'm waiting for Ashton Kutcher to jump out on the range and say that I got punked. You know what I mean? I'm doing firearms. Like, hey, I'm Ashton Kutcher. You got punked, bro. Like, no, this is absolute insanity. So I guess what you do is you find a colored gay woman within your organization, and you appoint her as the CEO/president, and then you push her as the writer of the contract for the government that you're going to get money or resources from, because your company would then be more likely to get those funds and resources. But this is 100% discrimination.
Yes.
Where is this coming from? Is this coming from
idiots?
Is Islam? Is this the Islamic Reich in Virginia trying to destroy the white man? Is this feminism trying to destroy the white man? Is this wokeism trying to destroy the white man? Like, it is absolutely fucking bonkers.
I don't know what to say on that other than yes. Like, everything, all of it. Apparently, it's this woman just does not care for freedom. She does not care for people's rights. She is apparently hell-bent on just fucking lighting the goddamn American Constitution on fire, because she's only been in office for what, like 2.5 months? And she's going after people's basic rights that have existed in this country for a very long time. And it is just amazing to me, like, calling this tone deaf as being nice. Like, no, this isn't tone deaf. You're just fucking retarded. Like, you're stupid if you think this is gonna fly. And like, I don't even think it's gonna go all the way to SCOTUS, dude. I think one of the federal district courts is gonna be like,
or at least
no,
Supreme Court.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, no, you're violating people's civil rights. Go fuck yourself. Like, no, we have a constitution that protects us for rules.
Again, I said this last time, but I'm pretty sure she ran on sort of a progressive, moderate Democrat platform type situation. And then the day she got elected, she turned into a socialist, communist nut job.
Yeah. She was framing herself as a moderate. Like, that's where she's like, I'm law enforcement, everything. I believe in law and order. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, do you? I think you believe in laws for everyone else, but not for you.
Yeah.
And what's crazy to me is, like, as far as the whole assault weapons ban thing, and for the record, I just want to mention this. Like, I'm happy / disappointed about this. I am a detachment of people of the armed populace actually showed up at the Virginia Capitol, and I fucking love this shit, dude. It makes me want to buy stock in their company. Magpul actually sent a pallet of 30-round mags to this one guy to hand out at the rally for free.
I saw that. Yeah.
So. I saw some pictures of it, and I'm pretty sure it was the same guy. I talked about the Virginia gun rally that I went to in 2020. The same guy with the Barrett 50 cal showed up again. So I was just like, all right, that guy's awesome. Like, just still rocking the fucking 30-pound behemoth. I was like, dude, you win. Like, we can't compete with that. Like, you have a gun that's made to take out tanks. Like, fuck, bro. But what I was really disappointed in is that there was like hundreds of people. And I'm thinking, like, where the fuck was everyone else from that state when I was there? We don't have an exact count, but the estimates were 25,000. And from where I was at, and I've got this stuff on my YouTube channel of just me being on the main street where the protest is. Guys, it looked like a fucking Woodstock was going on. There was people everywhere. So it was definitely in the tens of thousands. Like, that's inevitable. It went on for blocks and blocks and blocks, just like wall to wall fucking people. So I'm a little disappointed, I guess, that the turnout is so low. If I was still able to vote in Virginia, I would absolutely show up, guys. Like, it's not really my fight anymore, my direct fight, at least, because don't pay taxes there. I don't have voting rights in there. I do still have family there, so excuse me, I do still care about it, and I care about it becoming a larger issue. But I guess I'm just a little disappointed in the Virginia constituency, because when I was there were people I talked to people from Michigan who came in. I even talked to people from California who came in just to support Virginians. And they were aghast when I told them, when they're asking, like, so where are you from, man? I'm like, I'm actually from Virginia. They're like, you mean you've never lived anywhere else? I was like, no, man, I'm the rare article where I was actually born and raised in Northern Virginia. And Nova, that's actually kind of unusual. It's a very transient place. So they were just like, oh my God, man, like, you definitely have fucking skin in this game. I'm like, bro, I've never lived anywhere else. Like, yeah, I got to give a fuck about this. So Virginia, do better, guys. Like, come on. If they tried this shit in West Virginia, the entire fucking state would show up. Like, seriously. Like, everyone here who owns a firearm, Democrat, Republican, whatever, would be marching on the Capitol saying, like, yeah, not on our watch, motherfucker. Like, this is why the Second Amendment exists. So that when a government becomes tyrannical, we have a safeguard so that if we have to overthrow and replace that government, this is why. Because there's more of us than there are of them. again, the founding fathers would be angry at us. Like Jefferson would be like, what are you guys waiting for? Like, do you still have the like, you know, being pulled from his time travel bubble? Do you still have the Second Amendment? Yes.
Yeah.
So you still have guns? Yes. What's the fucking problem? Like, why aren't you hanging these motherfuckers in front of the Capitol right now for treason? Like, they would be furious at us for this, and rightfully so.
Yeah, and they took guns away from the Brits in 1997. Here we are,
Facts.
30 years later, and look at the shithole that they're in, the shitstorm that's taken over.
Yeah.
Great Britain.
Don't ever let them take your guns, man.
Don't ever.
That's facts. So let's get into something fun here, Chris. We've got our brand new, I'm hoping, recurring segment here. You know, we've already done Hey Stupid. That's been our stalwart, but we've got a new one. And judging by what group this is coming out of, I don't think it's going to slow down anytime in the future, because it just seems like it's not even every day. It's like every 8 seconds they're just throwing us comedy gold. So, but we've got a special bumper for this one. So this one, I'll give Chris credit. Chris coined this one. We're calling this segment Red Carpet Retards. So I couldn't find a better way to kick this off other than demonstration from this particular nice but kind of dumb lady. So here we go.
So learn a little education on sharks. I look up sharks on the internet, and then I see like whale sharks. I'm like, oh, that must mean a whale and a shark have sex.
Yeah, that's one way of drawing that conclusion. Bless your heart, Tara Reid. Yeah, we've got a lot of retards in Hollywood, man. It seems to be, I don't know if it's something in the water or like some kind of drug they're giving these people, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on here, man. Let me get some pictures here so we can kind of properly illustrate this. Bear with me a second. Go ahead, Chris. Speak your mind.
When you're that stupid, you only function when you have handlers that wake you up and take you to your appointments and make sure that you eat, and you know, like
you are not wrong.
It's like the Jessica Simpson, what was it, Chicken of the Sea or something? Remember that?
Yeah, she's like, is it chicken? No. Like, does it fucking taste like chicken? Okay, then no, it's not chicken. Jesus Christ. All right, let me get a little quibble on screen here so you guys can get on the same page. We got a couple angles that we're going to cover on this one.
It's unbelievable too, because she was so hot in like American Pie and Van Wilder, and then it just really went downhill for old Tara Reid.
Very, very big facts on that one, man. Okay, so celebrities are bashing ice on the Oscars red carpet while being protected by massive security. At the Oscars, you will find car sweeps, canine units, helicopters overhead, SWAT teams, entire streets locked down. The message from Hollywood: security for us, but not for you. And that's seems to be the general modus operandi for how they do things. I'll pick on another topic. So most recently at the Oscars, Javier Bardem, who wasn't even up for an award, he was just presenting one, was allowed the floor to give his little speech on like, you know, like no war. That I agree with. And, you know, free Palestine, you know, it's like, okay, dude, look, I don't care about Palestine. I don't care about Israel. So I don't really have an opinion on that, but here's where I take issue, and we'll broaden this out just a little bit. For all these celebrities who want so much action to happen at their own behest, how many of them do you know are actually willing to go fight in such a conflict?
None.
Exactly. So it's basically you're saying
they also don't know what they're talking about, especially when with Palestine, and you're like, we'll point to it on the map.
Yeah, and they don't know where it is.
They have no idea. Or they'll say things like from the river to the sea, and you're like, okay, well, what river and what sea?
Exactly.
What are you talking
They don't
about?
know.
And they have no idea. So
it gets
I don't
old.
know, I like to think that if I were a celebrity, I mean, I am a major market YouTuber and I'm extremely good looking with the charisma of a young macho man, Randy Savage, that if I didn't know about something, I would just say, you know, I don't really know enough to have an opinion on it. It's almost like the people in Hollyweird, the pedophiles and the woke liberals, are pushing these people to say this stuff, even though they don't even know what they're saying. And it is crazy.
It is crazy, and it's coming really from all angles here. There's, like I said, there's a couple layers to this. Like, I'm not just going to pick on Javier Bardem because he himself was not the problem. This is a much, much larger problem. And the the general the general gist of what I really have a problem with here is they all want America to basically act like their fucking parents and basically go fight someone that they deem to be a bully, meaning they want to risk the lives of people that they've never even met, who probably don't give a fuck about this conflict at all, to basically go over there and fight and potentially die or get limbs blown off and shit, just because they take issue with the particular thing. And I've always had an issue with that, man. And it's come from not just like your typical ultra liberal Hollywood celebrities. This is some guys who are in bands that I like, bands that I've listened to most of my life, that I've seen in concert and really enjoyed. I'll pick on somebody else here, guys, just to give context to this. If I can find it, here we go. Okay, so this is from David Draymond of Disturbed. So he's asking for people to speak up for the Iranian people, slams Javier Bardem for saying Free Palestine at the Oscars. Okay, so tonight during the Oscars, I really hope anyone has the spine to speak up on behalf of the Iranian people in their time of need, he wrote. This transcends our personal politics. Does it? This is a defining moment as consequential as the fall of the Berlin Wall. I think that's being a little fucking generous, but sure. In comparison to previous Oscar ceremonies, many of this year's award winners and presenters seem to steer clear of politics in their speeches. One notable exception, however, was actor Javier Bardem. While presenting the award for Best International Feature, Bardem appeared wearing anti-war pins and used his moment on stage to deliver a brief political message saying no to war and free Palestine. It's disappointing that the Academy made the choice that they did last night. Javier Bardem wasn't nominated for any awards, yet the Academy asked him to present an award, knowing full well from his outspoken history what he would do with this, with his time at the podium. At the time of rising Jew hatred, give me a break. This is the choice that the Academy made, and they still think the Jews, J-O-O-S, run Hollywood. How disappointing again. So he has, for the record, guys, David Draymond's Jewish. Not a big shocker. And he has been obviously a massive fucking proponent of, Israel and everything like that. And it's on paper, I guess I don't take issue with that. Judaism is such a strange culture, dude, because it's the only religion where the religion and the culture and the ethnicity all have the same name.
Mm-hmm.
You can be Arabic, but you can also be Islamic. Like, Arab is not a religion, but like Islamic could be. That's not an ethnic group. Granted, the majority of that comes from the Middle East, but that could be one of like 36 or whatever countries. When you say someone's Jewish, that could be their religion and they could look like you or I, or they could be Israeli. Like, it's such a weird dichotomy. I've always thought that was really strange. They should call it something else, but that notwithstanding.
Well, they are shapeshifters, and that's how they slide into everybody's culture.
I fucking guess they are, but it's... I'm honestly not even picking on David Draymond in this. Like, he's towed this fucking line for a really long time, but he's not really the problem because it's not just celebrities. Like, I'll just pick on a name. I have the same issue with Ben Shapiro. I really fucking do. I can't stand that fucking little midget because he has touted himself for years as being like pro-America, pro-America, pro-America. Okay, but now all it is like defend Israel. And I'm like, that's not America. You're not from Israel. Yes, you are Jewish by faith, but so where is your fucking allegiance? Is it to America or is it to Israel? And if it's to Israel, fine. Go fight the fucking war then. Like, seriously, if you truly believe in this, I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this to be satirical. I'm not even saying this to gaslight. If that is what you truly believe, no one is stopping you from going over to Israel and fighting Hamas, Palestine, whatever the fuck you want to call fuckheadistan, jihadist, goat fucker nonsense. I don't care. If that is what you want to do, dude, you have my blessing. Go defend your people or whatever the fuck you want to call it. That's cool. It'd be the same way that I would think like someone who's originally from Ukraine who immigrated to the United States was like, God, man, the Ukrainian conflict's like fucking crazy and everything. Like, we got to do something. Go back to your homeland and fucking fight then, dude. If you're that upset about this, and I can understand that. If I was in a different country for some reason, which would never happen, but like America was getting attacked, I'd be back here in a fucking nanosecond, dude. Like, absolutely. Yes. Like, I'm not shitting on you for being, for lack of a better word, patriotic. Sure. I can appreciate that. But why are you asking everyone else to go fight your fucking personal war? That's what I have an issue with. America does not have skin in this game the way that you think it does. Like, if Iran becomes a free people, okay, like, we might reap a tiny bit of benefit from that, but they're going to reap all of the benefits from that. Like, I'm sure the Iranian people want to be free, and I wish them well for that. If they truly hate their regime, I hope they fucking topple it. But at the same time, man, are they really going to appreciate their fucking freedom if we just hand it to them? Did anyone hand Americans freedom? No, we had to fight.
They're not going to know. Like, the problem with freedom is we've had it so long that it's just ingrained in our life.
Yeah,
like,
and that's the problem.
Built into everything. They've never had it, so they don't know what their freedoms are and aren't. They are sort of just waiting for another regime to take over, and hopefully the regime that takes over isn't as bad as the other regime. But the people that are going to benefit most from a free Iran are Europe and Northern Africa. Those are the people that are going to benefit most. Shapiro, listen, this cat, again, I don't know, allegedly, maybe, perhaps, because I don't want to get sued by the Hebes. He has definitely taken AIPAC money. He is.
Of course he has.
He's a Jewish Israeli plant in our country to be a propaganda machine. This motherfucker came out of nowhere. No one even knew who Ben Shapiro was, and then he latched on to all these other. He's basically a clout chaser. He grabbed onto other people's coattails, built himself up an audience, and now he's running his own little show over there, which is fine. But at the same time, he's definitely on the take. I would be willing to bet that he's definitely taking money, so he will never say anything bad about Israel.
Nope.
Even when they do something wrong. Like,
they do a lot wrong.
Maybe they shot a missile out of school, and maybe he should say, maybe we need to be better about that. He would never even say that.
I know. And that's what bothers me. He can't be objective.
The celebrities, you notice how they all really started to shut the fuck up after the Billie Eilish incident? Yeah, for sure. They can wear their little pins and they can say like their little quote, but I don't know, these days of them going up there and going, thank you for my award, and by the way, insert political mumbo jumbo. Like, that's probably going to be done.
Yeah, there's no one saying stolen land anymore. Like, Billie Eilish was the second
roasted right here on the Regeneration X podcast.
Fuck yeah, dude. And rightfully so. Like, you're
sure.
calling down the thunder, man. Don't get pissed when it rains. Like, seriously. So yeah, again, I can guarantee, guys, this is going to be a recurring segment just because every time one of these motherfuckers opens their mouth, I'm just like, I feel dumber for having heard this shit. Like, seriously, right? I feel stupid for, like, all I can think of is like, dude, you're a fucking oxygen thief. Like, seriously, like, you not breathing would be a net positive.
Just go make a movie. Go pretend to be somebody else and get paid for it. Entertain me, dummy. You know what I mean? Like, entertain me, idiot.
Yeah. Dance, little monkey. Like, come on.
Yeah,
that's really where we're at on this. So, all right. Speaking of Hollyweird, god damn, man, I didn't know what to make of this when I saw this shit. So, Chris, let me ask you a question, brother.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of canon films, we're fucking keeping it real here. One of the best canon films ever and one of the best fucking martial arts movies ever, Bloodsport. The movie that it wasn't his first movie, but let's be honest here, dude. Bloodsport introduced the world to fucking JCVD, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, that was his first starring role where he was leading the show, showcased his real talents. Like, he'd had bit parts in Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo. He was in No Retreat, No Surrender. Like, he did little bits here and there, but this was the Jean-Claude Van Damme fucking movie. And this is the movie that made him. What?
Okay, USA.
Okay.
I love Bloodsport. Are you kidding me? I've been waiting for this segment.
Okay.
Posted it.
I'm not your pal, dick face.
I love this movie. I remember watching this movie, HBO at my grandparents' house. They go to bed, it's on late at night at HBO or whatever.
Yep.
And then
Cinemax,
the ladies' titties are in there, and you're like, oh yeah, spicy, like 10-year-old me. But then it's like it says at the end of the movie that it's based on real events, and then you find out later when you're adult that's all fake, and Frank Dukes is a fake martial artist. Yeah, listen, man, Bloodsport. We talk about 80s, man. It's one of the great action movies of the 80s for sure.
It is for sure. So
It makes me happy.
they are remaking Bloodsport. The studio known as A24, who is, I'm not going to say they put out nothing but crap. They're reasonably big in the horror world. They're an independent studio. Some of the stuff they put out, I will give them credit, has been not terrible. Like, it's been okay. Nothing really stopped the presses worthy or anything, but some interesting flicks. I will give them credit. They do a lot of original shit that the big studios aren't doing, but they're kind of artsy fartsy, like, for lack of a better word. Like, their horror films are definitely more on the artistic side, which it can be cool, and it also can be dog shit. So they have taken it upon themselves to remake Bloodsport. And my first question is like, why? And my second question is like, okay, who's going to be doing this? So let me share screens here so we can all get on the same page.
See, now I'm not. Bloodsport makes me happy. This makes me not happy.
This is the director of the upcoming Bloodsport. Her name is Michaela, I guess it's pronounced Cole. She's being hired to write and direct a Bloodsport remake for A24. Let's see, wig, definitely fake hair. And like, I'm not even gonna pick on her appearance too much, but like, the big thing is just like, okay, who is she? I'm gonna give you the short answer. We're gonna dig into what she's actually done, but the short answer is she's fucking nobody. At least in this particular world of, like, action cinema, martial arts cinema, etc. So as far as what she's done, so I've got her Wikipedia page in front of me, guys. I'll just run down the basics here. So she's a Brit, raised in England. She's kind of a theater kid, from what I can understand, like, done a bunch of theater shit in the artsy fartsy world. I guess she's done some stuff. She let's see, she has written a book. Let me get to that part. Hold on a second. I should have bookmarked this. Blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so her first book, Misfits, a personal manifesto. Her words. That's the actual title of the book, Manifesto. There's another word that's attached to that hasn't been very kind to history. Was published simultaneously in the UK and USA on September 7, 2021. It is based on her McTaggart lecture at 2018's Edinburgh Festival, which touches on Cole's experience with racism and misogyny. Shocker. Her publisher described the book as a powerful manifesto on how speaking your truth and owning your differences can transform your life. This is sounding very familiar to me, Chris, but I'll tell you what, we won't dwell too much on that. What has she actually done? She had a tiny role in the not good Black Panther movie, Wakanda Forever, so not even the first one, where she played Anika, a member of the Dora Milaje, where it's like, okay, she had a very small speaking role as more or less a fucking background character. She has never written or directed a movie before, not in particular, not an action movie. She is not a martial artist. She has absolutely no experience in action movies other than playing a background character in the crappy fucking Black Panther movie, not even the good one, not even the first one. And she really hasn't done anything else other than write a book about her experience with misogyny and racism. She identifies as aromantic, not a space romantic, a as in like, atypical, aromantic. Which is basically characterized by experiencing little to no romantic attraction. The colloquial word for that, Chris, if you're really, really hip, is called aro. A-R-O. So if you speak that ridiculous fucking hippie liberal bullshit, that's what they call it.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that because they don't speak fucking retard.
Exactly. So my first question would be like, okay, if we're going to remake Bloodsport, why aren't you calling like Chad Stahelski, the guy who helmed the John Wick series, former professional stuntman? Why aren't you calling Joe Carnahan? Like, I can think of probably a dozen different action directors who could do this fucking movie in their sleep. Like, if you just wanted to update it, show different styles and everything like that, like, it's a tournament where you got like jiu-jitsu guys, capoeira guys, kickboxing guys. Like, if that is your aim, where you just want to update it and be like, all right, let's bring this a little bit more to the forefront. Sure. Why in the fuck would you pick this person who doesn't know shit about that topic and has probably never even seen the fucking movie. Like, why? Like, why? What in the fucking shit does this have to do with Bloodsport?
Yeah, I think the first thing is Bloodsport does not need to be remade.
No, it doesn't.
If you want to do like some sequel or something like, 30 years, 40 years into the future or something like that and modernize it with all the fighters with different styles and, tell a compelling story or whatever. Okay.
Sure.
Maybe I could get on board with that. I'm definitely not on board with this chick being the director because we all know how this is going to go. Trans martial artists are just as biological female trans martial artists are just as good as male martial artists. Like where this is going to flop. It's going to be a huge waste of time and money. And when it does flop, it's going to be, well, it's because the audience is racist and bigoted and, they're against trans people. Like, fuck, we've seen this 1,000 times in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Opinion.
This doesn't work.
Yeah.
Mr. Opinion nailed it. There's going to be a gay and a trans character. Where it's like, what does that have to do with this?
Yeah.
What does that have to do with anything? It has fucking nothing to do with anything. That's stupid. You're politicizing something. Guys, we want to see guys get kicked in the fucking face.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're here for.
We want like an extended story about the Black Dragon Society.
And
Kumite, reoccurring characters, like
facts. That's what we're here for. So no politics is even remotely necessary. That's fucking stupid. So on the same token, while we're on this topic, I've definitely got one that's directly adjacent. This is one that I came across recently in just popped up on my social media feed, and like immediately I'm like, why does this exist? Like I couldn't draw anything from it other than like, why are we talking about this? This is so fucking stupid. So let me go ahead and share a screen here. All right, so Shudder, the network, for the record, as a whole, I appreciate. I've been a subscriber to Shudder since they started. They've done a lot of great things for horror. Like, they truly have. Like, I will give them their dues on that. Some of their originals are fucking fantastic. And it's great that there's an entire streaming service completely dedicated to horror. They put out their original stuff. They bring out classics like they do Halloween, like, just all kinds of cool shit. But so they're doing a documentary called 1,000 Women in Horror. And I saw the social media post for this, guys, and I'm going to put that on your screen real quick before we dig into the article. And it showed a bunch of people, obviously all women. Guys, I've never heard of a single fucking one of them. Like, not one of them. And I'm going to remind you guys that my wife would definitely back me up on this. The overwhelming super majority of my media collection is absolutely fucking horror. It has its own dedicated, very large bookcase of Blu-rays, 4Ks, DVDs. I'm literally sitting in the fucking horror section of the video store right now. Like, here's the fucking Freddy shelf. Here's Tales from the Crypt. Here's Scream. Like, I fucking live and breathe this shit. Like, I always have and I always will. Horror is my favorite fucking genre of cinema. Action is a close second. I love all movies in general, guys, but I will always love horror movies. I have since I was a kid. So does that make me the absolute authority on horror? No, but it does make me plugged into this enough to know that if I don't recognize these names, you ain't shit in horror. I can say that with a clear conscience. On top of that, like, if that wasn't enough, so I see a bunch of pictures of people and I see a bunch of names. I'm like, who the fuck are these bitches? Like, I've never heard of any of these people. And then, so I want to remind you, Chris, that the title of this is 1,000 Women in Horror.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the people on the fucking list.
Oh, boy.
Do I need to do the math for you on this?
That's a dude, bro.
That is a fucking dude. That's a dude. Like, that's a dude. And for the record, guys, this is not a particularly homely woman. I looked it up just to make sure that, like, my gaydar wasn't broken. No, this is a biological man that thinks that she's a woman. Or thinks that he's a woman. Excuse me. God, this is like this shit's so fucking confusing that I have to
right?
My brain has to constantly recalibrate, just do the fucking mental gymnastics to talk.
Yeah, and if you get it wrong, they're gonna cancel you off the fucking planet.
Yeah, try and fucking cancel me. You ain't never gonna cancel me, dude. Long as I got my freedom of speech, you ain't never shut me up. You will never cancel this fucking show ever. We are uncancelable. You know why? Because we don't fucking care if you get mad. We do not care. I would go on a limb and say we kind of enjoy it, which makes us slightly on the side of psychopath, and I'm okay with that. It's a fucking spectrum. So the fact that they're propping this whatever up, that tells me everything I need to know. So I got into a bit of a back and forth with someone on the page about this, where I'll paraphrase my comments, but it opened with like, this is literally the worst thing I've ever seen. Like, seriously, this is the fucking dumbest shit I've ever seen. And I'll be fair, the guy responding to me did not go off on the normal liberal fucking talking points. He was actually asking me pretty calm, rational, neutral questions, just like simple one sentence questions. Like, well, why don't you like it? So I'm like, all right, I'll fucking bite. And I go back and forth with him on it, where I'm like, okay, this is rewarding people for existing. It's not rewarding talent. It's not rewarding skill. It's not rewarding merit. It's basically
like anything.
No, you have an XX chromosome, so we're propping you up. It's not like the 1,000 best people involved in horror. It's not the 1,000 best horror movies or anything like that. Like, it's not anything based on merit. It's like, you have an XX chromosome, great, we're going to put you on the list. Because let's be honest here, it's based on a book, for the record, 1,000 Women in Horror. Is that every woman who's ever been remotely involved in horror, like, ever? Because I can tell you one thing, it's not just directors, because that doesn't exist.
Yeah, right.
There's probably less than 100 that are female, and I can't think of one, to be perfectly honest, of all the horror movies I've seen. I can't think of one who happens to be female that has actually put out a good horror movie. And I actually have an opinion on that. And it's something I believe that I had a conversation with my wife about this, because I actually wanted to get her perspective on this, because I wasn't capable of wrapping my head around this. This is totally illogical to me. And we were watching a horror movie, and it like totally sucked. And then we get to the end credits, and there's a woman directing it. And I'm like, that's interesting. And she's like, why is that interesting? I'm like, now that I think about this, I would think that by definition that women would be better at directing horror than men. And she's like, why? I'm like, women have more reasons and more things to be afraid of than men do. Like, women have fears that men never have. Like, we're not afraid of women attacking us. Not really. I mean, we don't want to be shot at or anything like that, but we're not afraid of like a woman trying to essay us or anything, because there's no such thing. Like, if that happens with a guy, it's because the guy's submitting. So it's no, like, we don't have any of those very rational fears that women have. So you would think that women would have a better handle on what scares people. Like, I'm honestly not saying that to be sarcastic or gaslighting, man. Like, it's illogical to me that men are better at this than women.
Yeah.
And it just didn't make sense. And of all the horror movies I've watched, guys, and I'm talking like ever, I really can't think of one that I would say belongs in the top 50, maybe even not even the top 100. Like, the only one I can think of that would be of note, because I like the director in general, I wasn't a huge fan of the movie, would be Near Dark, Catherine Bigelow's first movie. Like, it's kind of like The Lost Boys kind of stole Near Dark's thunder as being like the pinnacle 80s vampire movie, and it deserves it, in my opinion. Like, that and Fright Night are the two best 80s vampires movies, period. But Near Dark is kind of the dark horse, because they don't really call themselves vampires, but it's really a vampire movie. And Catherine Bigelow's done some fucking bangers, man. She did The Hurt Locker. She did Point Break. Like, she was James Cameron's wife. Like, she definitely learned action from her fucking ex-husband.
Yeah.
One of the greatest action directors ever. So she doesn't suck as a director. I actually don't mind her at all. Again, I'm not a huge fan of that movie. I think it's a little overrated, in my opinion. It's not a bad movie, but it's like, is it anywhere near as good as The Lost Boys? Fuck no. It's not even close, dude. So it's, when I see lists like this and they're including the fucking gender benders and shit, I'm just like, who is this for? And this is not the first time that Shudder has done this. Shudder has continuously tried to push this radical fucking liberal agenda with their Boulet Brothers like drag show shit and everything. Like, this is a fucking staple on this channel. And anytime they get into the history of horror, it always takes a racial bend. It always takes a political bend. Like it's
Yeah.
the documentary's like, great. I love this deep dive. Then it's like, but we need to talk about this other thing. And I'm like, no, we fucking don't.
Yeah. No, this is, and we've sort of talked about this kind of in a peripheral, but it's like, I want feminists to be mad in the same way that I'm mad at this situation, because I look at it as, you've taken a spot away from a real woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From a real life biological woman that has contributed in some way, no matter how small. You have taken that away from them and given it to someone who has a mental disorder and believes that he is a woman. And that is absolutely ridiculous. It's like, it's like when we talk about, these Disney movies and things like that. It's like when they just sort of take a white character and make them black
for no reason.
It's like Disney is saying, fuck you, black people. We're just going to race swap a character. Shut up and watch it. Instead of creating new black characters with black experiences and, struggles and all that stuff and making something for you. Yeah, fuck you. We'll just make the Little Mermaid black. Shut up, watch it. That's the same way I feel about this type of stuff.
I agree.
1,000 is way too much. You should have probably could have gone with like 100, right? Let's start there, see how it works out.
And that's being generous.
Throwing in there was probably, you could have gotten like camp counselor number 4 who died in Friday the 13th part 17 or whatever, who's contributed more than whoever that man is. Yeah. That would probably have something really interesting to say about what it was like making this movie in the 70s or something,
Yes. So I want to be fair and balanced about this, guys. It wasn't one of the people mentioned on the original post, but there is a name on here that I actually have to give a shout out to. She did not direct this movie, but she did write it. I'm going to name her. Her name's Akilah Cooper. And she wrote a movie called Malignant. And if you have never seen it, that is one of the most original horror movies I've ever seen. Like that, I believe it was James Wan who directed that one. Don't quote me on that, but I'm almost positive it was James Wan. So it's the guy who did like Saw, The Conjuring, like A-list fucking horror director, dude. One of the best of his generation. But I'll give her credit. She came up with the concept, and this is definitely a script-driven movie. The ending, I did not see fucking coming. Like when you find out like what's actually going on, you're like, what the fucking fuck? Like it's one of those where like, whoa, like didn't see that shit coming. Where it was a good twist. Like I will give her that. It was a creepy as fuck movie, and it was a really good twist. But at the same time, I got the article off screen here where they're interviewing her about. I'm hoping they're misquoting her about this, but Akilah Cooper is like 3 years younger than we are, so she's basically of the same generation. And in the interview, she's reminiscing about owning a good guy doll. Guys, good guy dolls didn't exist when she was a child, and that's the way that they framed the quote. She owned a good guy doll as a kid. That wasn't a thing. She would be talking about a My Buddy doll, which is what the good guy doll was based on. That was real. Good guy dolls are a direct result of Chucky being Chucky. Like those were created because of the movie. That wasn't a word before Child's Play. And it wasn't even, they weren't putting them out when the first Child's Play came out. This is like when, fast forward all the way to fucking Bride of Chucky. Like that's, the fucking 4th movie by the time that actually became a thing. So I will give her credit. That was actually a fucking really original horror movie. Has she done anything else since then? Guys, I honestly don't know. But that is one name out of how fucking many really good horror movies I've seen that are directed by men, written and directed by men. It is not even the majority, guys. It is like 99.9%. And again, it doesn't make sense to me because I would think women understand fear better than men do because we have a lot less things to be afraid of. I mean, men have things we're afraid of, but it's a shorter list.
I saw a study on this, or like somebody did a report or something. It's like their fear is more like emotional and situation based. Like I'm not afraid to walk to my car at 3:00 in the morning.
No,
but a woman has legitimate fear.
Absolutely.
When a man goes into a restaurant, like say like an Olive Garden or an Applebee's or something, we generally scan and go, that guy would be a problem. Bitch. That guy's right. we sort of do that survival instinct thing where it's like we're gonna take a look around. Women don't actually do that. They don't do that sort of threat assessment process. They generally go towards, oh, that's a cute dress. Yeah, oh, I want that purse. Something that has nothing to like. They just don't pay attention to their surroundings like we do. So again, that situational fear that they have is actually legit.
Absolutely. I would be a fan, seriously, of a woman doing an original horror movie. Again, I'll shout out Akilah for doing a great one. She wrote a hell of a fucking horror movie. Like I can't think of anything that's even remotely like seriously, Chris, I want you to watch it. It's really, really good. It's out there on Blu-ray and everything. It's probably on streaming services. Give it a watch and let me know when you think. I guarantee you're not going to see the ending coming because like the villain is not who you think it is at all. It's like you're headed on one trajectory, then like right at the top of the third act, fucking hard left turn, buddy, where you're like, what's my God, Malignant.
All right.
It's a very interesting flick. Very creepy, like ambiance, kind of like it's very atmospheric. Like there's still some blood and guts in it, don't get me wrong. It's still a traditional horror movie, but it's like there's a lot of ambiance in that movie where you're like, this is uncomfortable to say the least. So give it a watch. But again, that's one fucking name, dude. Seriously. Yeah. It's the beautiful thing about horror, guys, and I'm sure that every chick that they interview in this documentary will all argue this, saying like, you know, we had a hard time breaking through. Guys, horror doesn't care about gender, about sexual orientation. Like they don't care. They only want one thing. Is it scary? Like if it's scary, they don't care. They just want someone with an original idea who can scare the pants off people, because it is harder to do that now than it has ever been. So horror is probably, I hate to use this word, but I'm just going to use the word inclusive, meaning there are a lot less barriers for entry, because you can make a low budget horror movie for almost nothing and have it be amazing. You can't do that in an action movie. You can't do that in a sci-fi movie. You can't make a comic movie. All those movies require money. There are so many examples of people making horror movies for fucking peanuts, and those things make like hundreds of millions of dollars. Like the Paranormal Activity movies, they made that for like 20 grand and it made like 300 million bucks. The Blair Witch Project, they made for like $20,000. It made $300 million.
That's one I remember as being inexpensive, but made a lot of money.
Huge. Halloween is the original one. They made it for $300,000. And like, look at the franchise that it spawned. That until the Blair Witch Project, Halloween actually held the record for the most profitable film of all time.
Oh, wow.
And Blair Witch actually broke the record. And I believe Paranormal Activity then broke the record again. But see, every time it's a horror movie. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if you have a good idea and you can pull a Kevin Smith and like max out your credit cards or something, he made Clerks for like 30 grand. You can do a fucking horror movie because it's based on the idea. Like the idea is what matters. You don't have to have like perfect action sequences or stunt people or anything like that. You just have to be able to scare people. So I don't really give a fuck who's behind the camera, dude. It's just like, is this going to be entertaining? And is it going to like put me on my heels? Like, oh shit, this is creepy as fuck. Like, I don't care. Like, seriously, I welcome everyone on that. So I guess men are better at this than women. I don't know why. That doesn't make sense to me, but apparently we are. I'll just leave it at that. So, all right. So we got a couple topics left here. We'll do a real quick one. We're just going to call out some motherfuckers who absolutely need to be called out. All right, ladies and gents, everyone you see here works for the Colorado State Legislature, and every one of these rat bastard pieces of shit voted against a bill that came through requiring jail time for child rapists, meaning mandatory minimum sentencing for violent pedophiles. These people opposed the bill, where the only thing it was changing was they were going to stick them in jail for 5 years, 10 years, or whatever, meaning like absolutely out of the gate, you fuck with kids, you're going to jail for X number of years. They oppose this absolutely. Why?
First of all, why isn't jail time already required for child rapists? That's what I want to know.
Yes.
I mean, personally, you know how I feel about this. 9mm are cheap. We should just shoot child predators in the face.
Facts.
My opinion. But if we're going to lock them up, think about, you let this person out. how many times are they going to reoffend before they do like the big one where you're going to send them away? Multiple times.
Yeah.
The other thing that needs to be addressed here, and these 4 people shouldn't get a fucking pass.
No.
They should
I
be
guarantee you
ostracized,
at least
called
one of them
out,
is a parent.
doxxed, protested in front of their houses,
Yeah.
and asked, why are you against sending child rapists to prison?
Yeah.
That is part of the problem right there. Those 4 motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And everyone like them.
I guarantee you at least one of them is a parent. In which case, like, the question becomes even deeper. Like, if this was your kid, would you still have that fucking opinion? Because I'm betting you wouldn't.
Yeah, right. And the 2 dudes there look like somebody needs to go check their browser history immediately.
Oh, facts, dude. And I think that's a lot where this is coming from. Because there is no justification for this, guys. This is good old fashioned fucking evil, and it needs to be exposed and it needs to be punished. I mean, it's Idaho and Florida now made child rape death penalty. And Idaho actually brought a firing squad as their designated method of execution. My only question, my only quandary, only criticism with that is, can it be public?
Yeah, like
I think it should be.
I saw that and I was like, well, why do you need a squad? I'll do it by myself and I'll do it for free. So
Like a 13-cent bullet, like, you know, sure.
I'm not doing anything on a Saturday.
Just bang, like game over. Shot to the back of the head, just off switch. So these are the people that are employed by the Democratic Party. I can't say I'm surprised at all.
Unbelievable.
It is what it is. So that's a bad piece of legislation, like court case and everything. Let's get on to a really funny and really good one where Chris is going to take the lead on this. But before Chris gets started, I just want to put something on screen real quick. Kind of set the fucking tone here.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah,
oh, buddy.
Afro Man
in his, like,
if you don't know who Afro Man is
wow.
in the chat or whatever. It's like in the early 2000s he had that song, because I got high, because I got high, because I got high.
Great song.
I was gonna go to school, but then I got high, right? And it was in the Jay and Silent Bob movie and stuff like that.
It was.
All right, do you have anything to say before I give him the old rundown? Because I'm very excited about this one.
My only question would be like how did he get to court? Because he was high. Like, it's like, like, how did he miss? I was gonna go to court, but I got high.
Maybe you don't remember that song because you got high.
Probably.
Right.
All right. I'll let you dig in.
So Afro Man, okay, he lives in Adams County, Ohio. He lives in my state, right? Everybody loves Afro Man. Like, he's a good dude, and like he hangs out with people. He's always got time for people. And he owns this place in Adams County. In 2022, the sheriff's office raided his house, okay, on what amounts to a confidential informant said that he had drugs and maybe kidnapped people. Somehow, no detective, no chief of police, no even like investigated that. It went to they filled out a warrant. A judge signed off on the warrant, right? So the police go to his house. They kick in the front gate. They bash in the front door. They go into his house and search for, kidnapped people and or drugs. They don't find either. They don't charge him with anything. But Afro Man has surveillance cameras all in and around his house.
Smart.
Okay. So Afro Man asks, he said, listen, can you guys help me pay for the door you broke and, all this stuff? They said no. Well, apparently also in this mix, they removed $4,400 from one of Afro Man's suit pockets. Okay.
Oh.
When they gave him the money back, there was only $4,000, and they were like, "Oh yeah, sorry. It says on here 4,400, but we miscounted." I actually looked into this. That's a policy violation. You need 2 officers to count and verify the money before you submit it to evidence, and then it goes into the old chain of custody, right? Where if I hand it to Jimbo signs off on it that he received it on this date, right? So. What Afro Man did was he made a bunch of videos, music videos, sort of parody diss tracks about these officers and, sold some merch and things like that. Well, it really took off to the point where these 7 deputies decided that they were going to sue Afro Man. Hold on. I got the actual list of charges that they were suing for right here in my show notes. Defamation of character, used likeness without permission. So there was a name, image, likeness type issue going on. Invasion of privacy, and something that I had never heard of before. I didn't really realize this was in the Ohio Revised Code. Unreasonable privacy given to private lives. Okay. Well, these officers sue Afroman for those 4 counts. It goes to trial. It's a shit show. They're showing all these videos where he's basically saying that this one officer, she looks like Greg the Hammer Valentine. She might be a man, but yeah, but it's like, you know, all the depositions, all this stuff. Make a long story short, like he said, he fucked, you know, one of the other deputies' wife. And I looked into that guy too. He resigned from Manchester City, Ohio in 2010. He was the chief of police up there, resigned for medical reasons. Apparently what Afroman was saying in his video about he's going to steal your pills and steal your bills might have actually been a thing to cause a resignation. It's something we got to do better at in law enforcement. Criminals need to be prosecuted, not made to resign, and they can get a job at another police department. Anyway,
sure.
I'll put a bow on this right now because I know we got another topic to get to. It's starting to get late. Afroman in his beautiful American flag suit with sunglasses. Jimbo's not showing you the rings that this man has on, but when you wore a marijuana ring to court, you gotta love it. Was found to be not you know, liable for damages or defamation or any of this stuff. So this is a, you know, freedom of speech, freedom of expression issue, and I couldn't be more happy for Afroman because, like I said, he seems like a really good dude. You know, and these deputies did a really dumb thing. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with him. As a public official, you cannot, like, I can't be offended when I'm in uniform. Okay. That's how the law works. And that's what we're taught in the academy. These deputies should have known that. So when you go to like a disturbance call, right? It's usually the law's written. It could be different in each state, but it's written to where it says like, you know, 2 or more people, none of which are the officer, were offended by whatever, right? So we can't be offended. So if you're going to talk shit about me, that's fine. I think the long withstanding thing though is that you don't really bring families into it. That's a little distasteful. But you know what? In this case, minus a few hiccups, I don't think it was over. I don't think it was grossly over to the top where it would be defamation of character. I think he's well within his rights for free speech and freedom of expression. And the jury also saw it this way. So, Jimbo, I just brought this to your attention like a couple days ago. But
I'd
heard about this whole thing.
I had heard about it, like Afroman was in court about something, but I'll be honest with you, I did not dig into it until you brought it to my attention. And like when I dug into it, I'm just thinking like they're basically suing him for making songs and like videos and like parody and stuff and satire. And satire is absolutely covered under free speech. That's actually one of the examples that the Supreme Court uses because it is the best example of the use of free speech because you're doing like criticism, like for lack of a better word, but you're doing it for humor. And guys, his name is fucking Afroman, and he made a song called "Because I Got High." Like, you know what? You want to know why they didn't find any guns at his house? Because he was high. You don't know why they didn't find any drugs at his house? Because he did them all and he was high. Yeah. Like this is the guy that you're targeting for fucking free speech. And like, look, whether you agree or disagree with him naming the people that fucked up his house when they completely had the wrong place, the wrong information, etc., they were obviously operating on bad intel. This was entirely their fault. There's no two ways about that. 100%. And so they fucked all this up from the get-go. He tried to be nice and be like, can you guys help me out with some of this? Like, you destroyed my shit. You stole my shit. He tried to do the olive branch thing, and they were like, no. So he's like, okay, well, I'm going to use my art form to expose you crooked fucks.
Yeah, to make money. The way he says it in court, he's like, you know, he's doing this. He did that to make some money back to pay for the shit that they broke.
Yeah.
Right? So I question the confidential informant and why they didn't like double check or set up surveillance or do anything normal law enforcement would do. How a judge signed off on this is beyond me. The deputies were just there doing their job. One of the things that they were saying was like, well, you know, he recorded us in his home. And it's like, so here's the thing. They all have body cameras. They are recording themselves doing this dumb shit. Body camera footage is absolutely public record. So what's the difference between him taking your body camera footage or the footage that he has in his own private domicile? You know
Exactly.
what I mean? Like,
That's a
it's
matter of
just
public
crazy.
record.
Yeah,
So
right. So it just baffles my mind. And it's like, again, he's a beloved member of the community. He's not like a troublemaker that's like causing all these fucking problems down in Adams County. So then that really speaks to the sheriff's department. If I were the Ohio auditor, I would be taking a look at this sheriff's department, because why was that allowed to happen? A search warrant on a private residence because some meth head. The confidential informant is that she's a drug addict.
Yeah.
So you have to then verify to the nth degree. And we all know that drug addicts, you know, they're in that situation. They're going to try and get themselves out of as much trouble as possible. So they may give you bad information. But yeah, this whole thing is absolutely crazy town. And if you have a chance, you know, write this down, check out some of these videos on the YouTube. I wrote them down right here. One of the videos is called "Will You Repair My Door?" That's an Afro Man banger.
Nice.
Lemon pound cake. That was the officer that walked past the lemon pound cake and like looked at it like he wanted to eat it.
That's amazing.
Why are you trying to disconnect my camera? Because they were trying to disconnect his camera. And then the other one is in here. Yeah, so in that video, he's talking about this Randy Walters guy, and the lyric is, "I used to fuck your wife doggy style," and you know, it's like,
goodness.
He's like, the attorney's like, "Well, did my client fuck your wife doggy style?" And the guy, "I don't know." like it turned into
It might have happened.
And then Lisa Phillips, this is the deputy that looks like Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Nice.
He did a video on her called "Lick 'Em Up Lisa." I definitely recommend that one. Like, if you're only going to watch that one. And Randy Walters is a son of a bitch. Those are all great videos out by Afro Man. I'm pretty sure they all have over 1 million views on YouTube by now.
Yeah.
But yeah, this thing is wild. And I think there's a little corruption down there. I think the judge wanted to throw the book at this guy, but he's so beloved. This was so botched and so wrong. And I'm just happy that Afro Man was able to get justice and go home free and not have to pay. They were asking for almost $4 million for these 7 deputies in this lawsuit. So I do feel bad about one thing, is that this Randy Walters guy, he's got 3 biological kids and then 3 that is sort of married into. 2 of them are biracial. They're daughters, biracial Hispanic and 1 biracial African-American. She's going to school, and then the kids at school are saying, "Oh, you know, Afro Man's your real dad because he fucked your mom," and all that stuff. That's something a kid shouldn't probably have to put up with. But really, if that's the kind of stuff that's going on at that school, do you think that's the worst thing that's being said?
That's still kind of
you
funny.
don't want to see any kid like that. You know, I think she's like 14 or something like that. So she's not like 10 or like 8 or something, you know. But yeah, the Afro Man, justice for Afro Man.
Still kind of funny, happy. So I'm okay with it. Awesome. Great job, ace reporter Chris. Damn, dude, look at you running with the
I got
news story.
2 pages of notes, man. I did backgrounds and like checks on all 7 of these officers. The one guy, his brother is a convicted pedophile.
Nice.
So it's like
classy, dude.
Jesus, man.
All right, we got 1 topic left. We promised you Chris v. Jimbo, and we will not fucking disappoint, because this is a topic that I originally sent Chris's way, kind of in exasperation. Like I wasn't originally planning on talking on the show about it, but this is something I've heard for so many years, and I'm in the camp where I'm sick and tired of fucking hearing this shit, because I think it's fucking nonsense. Like, and this is not because I'm hating on the particular object. It's just like, I think it's objectively not true. And I will defend my case on this. I will certainly give Chris the floor to do the same. So what are we talking about? All right, let's get Afro Man off here. Let's all get on the same page. All right. It was a social media post basically saying that the PS2 is the greatest console of all time. And I'm like, my response to that is, according to who? And based on what? Like, is it because of the fact that it's the best selling console of all time? Sure, it is. The Nintendo Switch is probably going to soon eclipse that. It's on track to do so in probably the next year or two. But I mean, it's Nintendo, dude. Like, Nintendo has won the best-selling console award more than any other company, and they probably always will because they're fucking Nintendo. It's what they do. The before the PlayStation 2, the best-selling console of all time was the Game Boy. So the PS2 unseated that. And the Wii actually almost outsold the PS2. It's actually was on track to do that. But the thing is, and I'm not doing like coulda, shoulda, woulda with this, but I just have to set the circumstances on this. They made the PS2 for a really long fucking time. And that definitely doesn't hurt your sales numbers because you made it available for a long time. Like, I can equate this to something in the arcade collecting world where like I've talked to other arcade collectors and people kind of like inside and outside the hobby who have the opinion that like a Pac-Man / Miss Pac-Man cabinet is like rare. And I'm like, based on what? Like what are you fucking basing that on? And I actually got so fed up with that nonsense that I actually looked into it at one point. Dude, Miss Pac-Man is the best-selling arcade cabinet of all time. It's not even close. It sold more than Mortal Kombat and like 3 different versions of Street Fighter combined. And I'll tell you why that is. The reason that it was such a big seller was because arcade cabinets had a very short life cycle, meaning they would make it for maybe a year. They might go to 2 if it's a really good cabinet and like do another run and produce them. But normally they just produce a run and that's it, because of the way that the life cycle works. Like, it's got to constantly be replaced by the newer, better game. Like, you know, Mortal Kombat needs to get replaced by Mortal Kombat 2. Street Fighter 2's got to get replaced by Street Fighter 2 Ultra Championship, lick my fucking balls, shine my asshole edition, you know, usual shit.
I have that on the Genesis.
I bet you do. So Miss Pac-Man, the cabinet, was produced nonstop for 20 years. So that's a really unfair advantage. The PlayStation 2 wasn't. I'm just using this to illustrate a point. It's the best-selling cabinet because they made it fucking 20 times longer than basically any other cabinet. They were making it still with tubes into the early 2000s. So of course it's going to be the best-selling cabinet. Like, it got more support than any other console, much like the PlayStation 2 did. Sony, I'm not saying this is a hit. Like, they went behind it and they pushed it and pushed it and pushed it for years and years and years and years and years. And it sold like gangbusters. I'm not taking that away from them. Like, it did. It is the fucking best-selling console of all time. I will give them nothing but credit for that. I owned one. I loved my PlayStation 2. It's how I was playing Grand Theft Auto, fucking 3 and Vice City and a whole bunch of other fucking great games. Not shitting on the console. Here is my argument against that as far as the PlayStation 2 console being the GOAT. I do not see what the PlayStation 2 did to move consoles forward. It did absolutely nothing revolutionary, and I can perfectly qualify that. In my opinion, the PS2 is a pumped-up version of the PS1. Not that that's a bad thing, because the PS1 was a great console. It really was. Again, none of this is set out of hate or malice, but what did the PlayStation 2 do to move console forward other than present the first DVD drive? I will give them that. Much like the PS3, which for a while was the best-selling Blu-ray player because it was cheaper than a Blu-ray player. It kind of helps when the fucking maker of the console owns the technology. Like, yeah, sure. Like, I had a PS3 and I got it because I wanted a Blu-ray player. Guilty. So the PS2, much in the same vein, was the best-selling DVD player because at the time, DVD players were expensive. And I'll be honest, like, it made DVD accessible to younger people because... Like, my father bought the first DVD player that was accessible in the DC metro area. He knew the manager of a Circuit City, and he actually got, this is when DVD players were just coming out. He got it a week early. It was $750 fucking dollars for that thing. This is a lot of money. PS2, even when it came out, was what, $299? So like, it was a fraction of the cost of a DVD player, and it played games. So like, it's kind of a backdoor thing for putting DVD into the zeitgeist, even though Sony did not develop DVD. They actually had nothing to do with it. It was primarily Toshiba that developed DVD and a little bit of Pioneer. Very different from the Blu-ray where Sony was all behind it. So I'll kick it over to Chris and I'll just ask a question. Like, other than being a de facto DVD player for the house, not that that's a bad thing. I use mine all the time for that. What did the PS2 do to push consoles forward?
Yeah, so you mentioned the DVD. The way I broke it down was I have the console lifespan, You mentioned it, 2000 to 2013, Xbox was 01 to 07.
Yep.
The number of consoles sold, 155 million to 24 million. But
Yep.
it's the games. It's this games library that you have with the PlayStation 2. You've got almost 3,800 to 4,300 games. On the Xbox, you have about 1,000.
Yep.
And there are some bangers on the Xbox. All right, the key selling points for the PlayStation 2, you mentioned that the DVD support. While the Xbox can play DVDs, it requires the dongle and the, whatever that was, the remote. PS1 compatibility was obviously a great selling point back then. And then for me, growing up with or having the PlayStation in the military and seeing the regular PlayStation controller without the sticks, and then we went to the DualShock controller. The new DualShock 2 controller was absolutely a selling point for me because you're familiar with that console. For whatever reason, Nintendo likes to change their controllers every console. So I stuck with a PlayStation 2. And then I started to look at what are some real exclusives. Like, I don't care if Xbox has like NHL, Thunderdome night, like big boys. God of War, Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy, Devil May Cry, Kingdom Hearts, Guitar Hero. The original Guitar Hero was not on the original Xbox. Gran Turismo, A-Spec, Ratchet and Clank, Persona, Rule of Rose, Kuon, those great horror games that you like. But for the Xbox, you got Dead or Alive, Beach Volleyball, Ninja Gaiden Black, Elder Scrolls, Halo, Shenmue.
This was a launch title, by the way.
Republic, Steel Battalion, Counter-Strike. That was a PC game, but we'll just stick to consoles. Counter-Strike, for whatever reason, was not on PS2. And I had played Counter-Strike when it was on the Xbox. And I thought, why isn't this on the PS2? And I'm still thinking that now. So I just think that, and I know because I asked, I went to my local game store, Maxine's. I said, what is the interest now? What's the longevity of this console?
Sure.
It's almost like 15 to 20 to 1 people coming in asking for PS2s over original Xboxes. And the people that generally want the original Xboxes want to mod them. They don't even really want to play the library of games. So at that point, the Xbox really isn't being used for its intent, which is to play Xbox games. I will give Microsoft more kudos because they were really pushing the online multiplayer connectivity sort of initiative. And just for fun, I did, just to round it out, I did some sort of fun facts about the lore is also kind of tied into its cultural significance as a console. So the PS2 supported Netflix online in 2012, 2013. It was rumored that Saddam Hussein bought 4,000 PS2s so he could strip them and use them for cameras and laser guided missiles and all this stuff. The PlayStation 2 is capable of having HD 1080 graphics for Valkyrie Profile and Taurus Trophy, which is like a motorcycle racing game. And Dan Palms, a British man, formerly known as Dan Palms, legally changed his name to Mr. PlayStation 2. Yeah. Sony was banned from importing PS2s into Iran, Iraq, North Korea, and Libya. And then the console sold out and were some of the first consoles, at least I remember, being scalped on eBay for over $1,000, upwards of $1,400, which would one of the highest resale on the market, which would have been like $1,800, $1,900 in today's market. I don't ever remember Xboxes being scalped that high on the eBay machine. But when you look at the sales numbers, the exclusives, all of the lore, its cultural significance, what it can do, and how it's received now, there's no doubt in my mind that the PlayStation 2 is the greatest console of all time. And the only argument that I will listen to is Nintendo Switch and Super Nintendo, because while there are a lot of games on the PlayStation 2, that doesn't mean they're all good games. I believe, my opinion, that the Super Nintendo has the highest concentration of 9 and 10s of any console that's ever been produced. There are so many bangers on the Super Nintendo, but that's my logic and reasoning for why I think I know that the PS2 is the greatest video game console ever made.
Okay. Allow me to rebut that. Great argument, by the way. Like a lot of that stuff, some of it I saw coming, but a lot of that, no, you make some valid points, dude. Okay, so before I make my case, I want to be very clear about this. I am not hailing the Xbox, the OG Xbox, as the greatest console of all time. I'm simply using it to make a point. I actually agree with you. I think the Super Nintendo's, it's probably the best, like pound for pound, it's the best console of all time. Like it did a lot for video games. I'm kind of biased. I think I love the TurboGrafx a little bit more, but I'm biased. I got one when they came out. It's always going to be, that's always going to be where my allegiance lies. But outside of that, SNES, I think we're on the same page. Okay. Here's why I think the Xbox, by every single metric, is superior to the PlayStation 2. And I'm not just going to bore you guys with tech data stuff. I'm going to try and craft my point as far as the long-term impact that the Xbox did. Every console to this day has copied the Xbox formula, period. Every single one, because this was the first one to do so many things that it is impossible to attribute it to anything but the Xbox. And the PlayStation did zero of those things. First console ever with a hard drive. The first console with a built-in Ethernet port. The first console with a legitimate online experience. Now, I understand that eventually PlayStation 2 did do online, and they did have some decent experiences on there. The main one that comes to mind would be like Resident Evil Outbreak. I know you're not a Resident Evil fan, but like that in its sequel, dude, people are setting up like fucking servers so that they can still play on those things. It's a very, very beloved thing. Like, not taking that away from it. That's fucking cool as shit. And I hope that Capcom is planning on remaking those now that we have, like, I don't know, modern internet and stuff, and like now we can like escape the lack of capabilities that the PS2 had at the time with online presence and shit. But guys, I signed up for Xbox Live. I was there day one when it actually started. It has obviously come a very long way since it did. You know, the marketplace was very much in its infancy and everything. Like the first game I ever played online, I believe was, I can't remember, it was one of the Rainbow Six games where playing online with a person on a console. And I remember the funny thing about this is you couldn't even do co-op or anything. It was just, you had to select limited number of maps where you could run through the missions with a buddy and everything. But what I thought was really funny about this, and I understand why this didn't catch on, but at the same time, I want someone to bring this back. When you would talk, your character's mouth would fucking move to your words. So like your buddies and I, because it basically just did this. Like just kind of like wow, 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 wow. So we would kind of make fun of that, like while we're playing the game, just like hey Jimbo, what's going on? Wow, 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 wow. It was entertaining as fuck. And obviously that got moved to a whole different fucking level when this little game you might have heard of came out called Halo 2, that arguably the greatest sequel probably of all time. Like just zero flaws, everything that the first game did great, and it just took it to an entirely different fucking galaxy. But it's not just that, it's the little things. And it goes back to, I'm going to give him credit, even though he's a fucking piece of shit, the genesis of how the Xbox was created. Some of this is probably lore, but there's probably some truth into it. So the legend basically says that Bill Gates got a bunch of his internals together who played consoles, like who played PlayStation, N64, or whatever. And he was like, okay, if you guys could make a console, what would it have? Like, what is everyone not doing that you guys, you know, you have PCs and shit, you work for Microsoft, like, where's the disconnect between A and B? Like, if we were going to make one as a company, what would we do with it that other companies aren't doing? And they gave him a list. And one of those things was a hard drive. They're like, you know, it's not that expensive to do. And they're like, okay, what else do you want? They're like, we want it to be almost as powerful or as powerful as a PC. He's like, well, fucking Microsoft, I think we can arrange that. We want like a shit ton of fucking RAM, fast processor, like little things. And out of those meetings, when they were doing quality testing, came not only the controller design, but also, and this is just a little thing, I'm not saying this is like the make or break, but it's a little thing that I thought was the neatest feature. And I understand why it doesn't exist today because all the controllers are wireless, but just something I thought was cool. The breakaway controllers. I thought at the time, dude, I was like, this is something we didn't know we needed, but we fucking needed. When you're up late playing Halo 2 with your buddies, and you've been fucking drinking, and you're fucking grinding till 2 or 3 in the morning or whatever, and your drunk ass friend steps in front of you and like steps on your controller. Instead of it taking the entire goddamn Xbox with it, it just unplugged itself. It was perfectly safe. And I was like, wow, dude, like they're really fucking so far ahead of us on this. Like, holy shit. Like they're anticipating us being young and stupid. Like, just what the fuck? Just like a little thing like that. But more importantly, the controller design, which in my opinion, and there is a very, very, very large amount of the gaming community who would absolutely be behind me on this, because this is at the top of virtually every single top 10 list for greatest controller of all time. Now, if you notice on your screen there, the Xbox controller, that, to be fair, that's not the Duke. That's not the original controller, which I still love. Dude, when the S came out, I was like, fuck the S, man. I want the big controller. I want the Duke. I was a Duke diehard. Obviously, I've since adapted. Yes, the S is better. It's a smaller controller. It's a better form factor, etc. The point that I'm making with this is, if you look at that controller, the S controller, and you look at the modern Xbox controller, it is almost the exact same controller. There's a couple of minor differences, like they added the shoulder buttons. It has the triggers. They did improve the triggers and everything. The D-pad was a little bit improved. They moved a couple of the buttons around, but the basic framework of the controller really has not changed in almost 30 years at this point. To couple with that, Nintendo, who copies absolutely fucking nobody because they are Nintendo, copied that controller design for the Switch. When you look at the Switch Pro controller, it looks like a damn Xbox S controller. And Nintendo rides on no one's coattails because they are fucking Nintendo. On top of that, they're Japanese. They're really fucking stubborn. So they don't like doing that to anybody. And if you look up, just Google like top 10 greatest controllers. I've fucking done this. On almost every single list, the Xbox controller is rated number 1. And when
the original Xbox controller?
No, just like we'll call it. I think the Xbox 360 controller is the one that they used. Like people consider that like the modern version.
A good controller. I think it's a little.
It is.
It's a little different than that one. Like the original Xbox controller has these buttons around here.
Yes.
And here's the 360. I mean, they basically put them here.
Yeah. They basically moved a couple of buttons inward, but the framework of the controller is more or less the same. And when you look at PC gamers, the ones that don't fucking cheat and use mice, there's exactly one controller that they use, the Xbox controller. It is the most popular controller ever made. So I asked at the beginning, like, what did the PlayStation do to move consoles forward? It did do a couple of things. I'm just piggyback on some of the things you mentioned. Yes, like I don't really disagree with any of the points that you made. But if we're really going tit for tat here on which console truly changed the way that consoles operate, it is without question the Xbox, because no one is copying what the PS2 did now. Everyone has copied Microsoft, PlayStation. Everybody is riding the coattails of the advancements that Microsoft did with the original Xbox, because a console generations later, they all had hard drives. They all had Ethernet. They all had like wireless, that started on the original Xbox. It was expensive as fuck back then, and very few of us had it. But like the wireless controller, like the modern wireless controller, all started with that. The online presence, it really kind of, in my opinion, hit its peak on the Xbox 360, where the marketplace kind of became the marketplace. But like downloadable content and all these other things, 100% of that started with the Xbox. They literally changed the way that people see consoles, because their approach to this was different than any company ever, because they were basically trying to build a console that could compete with PCs. Mm-hmm. Sony and Nintendo never tried doing that. So I have to give Microsoft credit. Again, I am not saying that the original Xbox is the greatest console of all time. I'm just saying if the PS2 is the GOAT, then by my metric, Xbox did way more. The original Xbox did way more for how consoles can be digested than any other console in history, because it had so many firsts. There are other consoles that did this thing first or that thing first. Like, guys, it all started with the NES. Like, that is the prototype for the basic controller, the B&A controller, the best D-pad ever made and everything. The Super Nintendo just did that same thing, moved it up a little bit. The Xbox took that and just pushed it into the fucking future, kicking and screaming. We're like, okay, let's get online. Let's do 4 players standard. Again, the PS2 didn't have that. To be fair, the N64 had it before both of them. Let's do a hard drive. Let's make it so that people can rip their fucking CDs to the system and use those songs in the game, like WWE Raw 1 and 2, where you could do a character creation. I utilized that. My guy came out to the fucking song that I basically like bequeathed them with. I wasn't using the stupid bullshit songs, the generic bullshit that was in the game. I'm like, no, bro, I want this fucking song by like Earth Crisis or fucking Metallica or something like that. Like, all of those things were so ahead of their fucking time, dude. Like, this was light years beyond anything that either existed during or before it. This was such a gigantic leap in technology on every single front. And again, I love the PS2, dude. PS2 has it on sales. It has it on library. It has it on exclusives. It has it on all of those things. But if we're talking about the console itself, it is without question the fucking Xbox. It is superior on every single technical level, on every single ounce of technology, on every single way that it influenced the way that consoles are now created. The only thing that the PlayStation did in that arena, in my opinion, is it really made exclusives and like massive game catalogs a thing. Like, that really started with the PS2, where they're cranking out games, they're cranking out sequels. Like, there's like Sony's like just putting the fucking money into paying these studios to like crank games out for this shit. They kind of created the modern business model for that I will be fair that like Nintendo and Microsoft have since copied. So I will give them that. Like, the modern business model, yes, I can say that Sony invented that. So that had a long-lasting impact. But the rest of it, and I promise I'll let you jump in here, Chris, I don't see what Sony did other than like banging games and stuff like that. Like, the legacy of it, the legacy of the PlayStation 2, for me, it's about one single thing: games. And I'm not taking that away from it. There's a ton of fucking great games on there. But as far as where we're feeling the impacts of that today, I mean, we're feeling it because like they're still doing God of War games, they're still doing Devil May Cry games, like yeah, like sure, like all of those things are being continued, but none of what it did with the actual console, it didn't really do anything to move consoles forward other than, like I said, the business model. But that's my defense. I'll hand it over to you, Chris.
Yeah, you seem to take a real sort of tech and spec with the console thing.
Yes.
I did like everything that is PS2 related, right? That's sort of how I did my evaluation. But, you know, I think Sony's controllers pretty much stayed standard, minus a touchpad here or there. And I love it. I'm playing Metal Gear.
I hate the Sony controllers so much, dude.
I love it. And see,
I know it's just my opinion, but I
feel the exact opposite. Sometimes I get in my head like I need to finish Panzer Dragoon Orta. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with this fucking Xbox controller. I really don't. With these little side buttons and
what is your issue with the Xbox controller? Help me understand.
I don't think those 4 little nubby buttons are convenient. And because I'm so used to the PlayStation controller. No, we're talking about original Xbox.
Oh, okay.
Like if I want to put Panzer Dragoon Orta in my original Xbox, or Conker's Live and Reloaded, or Grab by the Ghoulies, a game that we both love, into my Xbox, I don't want to deal with the controller. And, you know, it's like the buttons are all, because my brain is so tuned in. When it says green, I'm hitting triangle. So I'm hitting the top button for Sony instead of the bottom button. So, yeah, there's just I don't know.
I can qualify you in one word what I hate about the Sony controller. Seriously, it's one singular thing. I hate the thumbstick position because I think it's stupid and doesn't make sense. It's dumb because it doesn't fit the way the human hand is designed, because you have to alter where your thumbs go naturally. Whereas if you're holding this, dude, I'm basically just sticking my hands out straight and look where my thumbs go. Like straight on the fucking thumbsticks. Like staggered thumbsticks is what puts this over the top, in my opinion, because it's the way your hand falls by default. When you have to do on the PlayStation, I got to bring my thumbs down. That's not fucking comfortable, dude. Like at all. Like it's not like I have weird hands or anything. It's just like you're basically just sticking your hands parallel and you bring your thumbs down straight and look where they go. Where on the Sony, I've got to do this. That's not natural. Like it's not. Like this is without question a far superior and more thought out controller as far as like designing it around the human hands. I'm not saying it's better just because it's fucking Team Xbox or anything. I'm just saying like the person who designed this for the maximum amount of comfort for normal people's hands. Like if people prefer the what I'll call like the inward thumbsticks, like the DualShock design, dude, Sony is literally the only company left that makes controllers like that. As I mentioned earlier, even Nintendo copied Microsoft's design. If it was a good design and Nintendo's going to copy someone, then they would copy Sony. But they copied Microsoft.
I mean, even Xbox flawed their first, because the Duke controller is not. I have one.
No, I'll give you that. It's not. The I'm basing this on the S.
Microsoft didn't nail the controller for the original Xbox the first time, to where they had to do a revision to it, and they have the S controller, which is there, which is a fine controller. It's just I shy away from playing original Xbox because of those reasons I stated. But yeah, I mean, I think we both made some compelling arguments. We understand the position. Obviously, I'm a PlayStation 2 guy. When I got my PlayStation 2, I got it when I was in the military, and I was the second person on the base to have it, and they had it at KB Toys, and it was $399. It was $399, but it came with any 3 games on the wall. And I got like Conflict, Desert Storm, Hot Shots Golf, and maybe like Ready to Rumble or something. You know what I mean? And it's like looking back now, you wish you could like, I'll take 3 copies of that expensive game in the future right there. You know, take 3 copies of Rule of Rose or something, But I remember they gave us a waiver we had to fill out that said that we're not going to leave it in the car at the mall. And, it's like, it was a wild time back then, bro.
There was one final really quick thing that I forgot to mention. On launch titles, I think Xbox wins. They don't need anything else besides Halo. That was a launch title. It's one of the biggest franchises in the universe. But to bookend that, and this isn't just about the game. This is where I think it bleeds into the larger picture. When Halo 2 came out, I was there at midnight when they did the launch. And I have never before or since seen anything like the hype fucking around this shit. Like at my local GameStop, like the line was wrapped around the goddamn store. There were 2 guys there who were members of the Washington Redskins. Like this, like famous fucking jocks were there to get their copy of Halo 2. Mm-hmm. I don't remember PlayStation having a game like that where like a midnight launch became like a cultural event, where it was like a thing that literally like, I mean, we weren't there for Halo, obviously, because that was a launch title and no one knew what the fuck Halo was. But I think Halo is like the golden eye of its generation. Like they said that you couldn't do a first-person shooter on a console, and Nintendo was like, watch this. And they put out, one of the best-selling shooters of all time on a console. Halo was the next incarnation of that, where they're like, okay, can we put out a shooter that honestly competes with the ones on PC? And it absolutely does. I mean, there's whole tournaments surrounding it and everything. But
Halo's a massive deal.
It is a very big deal.
My thing, too, is that I don't really like first-person shooters, and I don't really play games online. So Xbox has a lot of first-person shooter. Like
it does.
We could go down the list. So if those are the games that you're seeing, I would not buy that console. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I get it.
If all I saw was this console does first-person shooters and online, I would probably not even buy it. Wouldn't even consider buying it. But
no, I get it.
When you grow up and have big people money and you can buy the non-first-person shooter games for the console, like Panzer Dragoon and Grab by the Ghoulie, you really get an appreciation of what the console is. I say it all the time. I think for the bang for the buck, if you don't have one in this generation, get an Xbox One S. It's not an X, but there's a great library of games that you can play for it. And we've already talked about it with all the great games on the Xbox One S. But so it's not like I'm against Xbox. It's just I was never an original Xbox guy, you know.
I was. To be fair, I had both consoles, but
yeah,
I was never hosting game night at my house to play a PlayStation game. That was never a fucking thing, bro. It was Raw and then Halo. Like I don't have an equivalent on the PlayStation PlayStation side where it's like there was this game where literally life fucking stopped so you and your friends could fucking play it. Like it became more than a game, dude.
We had MLB tournaments, we had Madden tournaments, but again, those aren't exclusives. So, you know, you could do that on any console, really.
This became part of American culture. Like it changed. I mean, again, it was a bad TV show, but they made a fucking television show out of it and everything. I mean, this Halo changed everything. Like it really did. And Halo 2 changed even more. Like the fever pitch for that sequel was unlike anything I've experienced before or since. Everyone who played the original Halo was like, dude, this game's got to come out like right fucking now. Like I need this fucking game to exist. And the trailer drops and we're like, oh my fucking God. Like it's just like it's better than we built up in our heads. Me and my buddies took off 3 days of work where we played the game practically 24 hours a day. Yeah. Like that's all we did. We played the campaign, we played versus and everything. I have never done that for any other game before or since. This was like a moment in time.
Yeah, I've only done it
once. The Xbox is hooked up and shit.
I did it when Last of Us 2 came out because I got the big giant collector's edition. And I took like the day off work, went and picked it up at GameStop. Got home, I was like, what do you guys want for dinner? I was like, here's $40, order pizza whenever you're hungry. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
It just popped in Last of Us 2.
Well, this has been an awesome debate, dude. Thank you so much for having it with me. Team Xbox for the win. I got to throw that in. I will die on the hill that this is the best controller ever made, dude. Like I don't want Microsoft to change this because it doesn't need to be changed. Like seriously,
the Xbox 360 controller. I like the Xbox One controller. I don't like the original controller.
No, I get you on that. Like the Duke, it was very revolutionary at the time, but the S was the better controller. And to be fair, they fixed it in the same life cycle. Like they didn't wait for the next console to be the updates. Like that was like a year or two, I think, into the Xbox's life cycle. So it was pretty quick where people were like, I think we could do this a little bit smaller and polish it a little bit. And that's that format.
Kids have hands that are this big.
A copy of this
is this big.
Yes. And it's when you look at that and you look at this, there are very, very little differences. They relocated the clear and the black button and created the shoulder buttons. That's really about it, dude. Like it's basically the same controller. It's basically the same size. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So my message to the new Xbox CEO, leave this shit alone. Like seriously, if you want to polish up tiny little things with it, fine. I want it to look and play like this. Like there's a reason you guys sell the shit out of these things because it works. It's comfortable. It plays well. Like, yeah. So we'll go ahead and leave it at that. So thank you everyone so much for tuning in. We really appreciate that. We know we're running about 40 minutes overtime here, but we had to absolutely get into this. I'll put on one final comment on screen. I did the same with one of my friends every time Halo dropped. Co-op all night. There it is, dude.
Yeah, for sure. Hope you guys enjoyed your bonus Regeneration X podcast tonight. Getting more than what you're paying for.
Damn, dude. Don't say it too sexy. My God. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Mr. Pingen, Frankie Too Sweet, everybody who stopped by. We really appreciate it. We will see you guys on the next episode next week. Stay tuned to the Retro Game Lunch Facebook page for updates, and we will see you next time. Enjoy the outro. Adios, guys.
All right.